Tornado alert for good reason. Tornado warning in progress at this time. Mark Elliott here in the lab with Tom Nizzle. And Tom, a dangerous storm in eastern Iowa.
Well, it certainly is. It's moving at a pretty rapid clip, and they saw a signature on there just recently. They've issued the warning on that. So right in this area here, and let's zoom down to that and take a look at this warning and the timing on this storm. It is moving along, as you can see, very rapidly here. Keokuk, Washington counties through 4:15 this afternoon. If you're in these areas, Mark, you got to take cover immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a bit of a signature on there earlier in its lifetime. Now still kind of a broad rotation.
You really can. You can see this right in here. You can see that couplet, and it is a relatively broad rotation in here. So it has weakened a little bit from where it was just a few minutes ago here. Nevertheless, there is a rotation in there, and we're going to have to really pay attention to that. It looks like it's probably a little rain wrapped in here right now when you look at the reflectivity signature. And again, it is moving in this direction here into Westchester just after the 4 o'clock hour. So moving along.
Yeah, and this might be a bit of a, a false return, but sometimes when you see those holes in the reflectivity, it makes you nervous, but it doesn't look like it's that organized a storm at this point.
At this point it does, but nevertheless, we do have the tornado warning in effect, and in fact, we're also looking at, look at the suggestion on the hail size in here, as high as a 3-inch hail. We saw this yesterday with a number of storms as well.
So even if it's not putting down a tornado, it certainly qualifies for a severe thunderstorm warning at the minimum. So you have to take that storm seriously.
Absolutely, and a number of other storms to take seriously. This is really getting widespread across the area. A number of areas right here. This is this line we've been talking about earlier, spawned a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. Here we have activity down across southern Arkansas with a lot of warnings in effect. And then a third area is the south of this warm front, well out to the east of it, where there's a little feature in the upper atmosphere back here that is driving this activity as well.
And not to be outdone, we had some warnings in Georgia and South Carolina, just kind of garden variety thunderstorms, but enough to get severe thunderstorm warnings as well.
Certainly lighting up in a number of different areas, and the night is not over. You know, I was talking about this earlier, that with a series of storms that have gone through this area here, that we might even see some flash flooding. Flash flood warning now in effect across that region, and the activity is moving very rapidly toward the Pittsburgh area.
And it is right over I-77, so what a commute home right now. If you happen to leave just a little bit early, you are stuck in the slop right now and around Cambridge.
Absolutely. Huge reductions in visibilities, and again, that flash flood warning has me concerned that you really get a lot of ponding on roadways. Travel has to really slow down through this area during the rush hour.
So Pittsburgh, the late rush hour, it looks like it comes into you right about 6:30.
Probably in that 6:15, 6:30 time frame, so be aware of that. And again, this is holding together. I'm expecting it to hold together as it moves through the area.
So many areas that we're watching for severe weather, including in Chicago. Reynolds, we were just talking to Reynolds Wolf a bit ago, and now those storms have moved over the lake.
That first round through Chicago pretty much right now, so we're going to see a little improvement in activity. But boy, if we go down south here, look at these series of severe thunderstorm warnings now in southern Arkansas. So it is going to be a very active evening here, Mark, as we continue to monitor all of this activity.
Many storms and many areas to watch, so a busy evening here at the Weather Channel. Viv, back to you.
Guys, well, let's check out the forecast for the weekend. I know it's Thursday, and we're watching those storms for later on today, and we will be here, of course, on top of it for you. But we want to tell you about another storm that will be moving into the plains as we go through the weekend, and we will be targeting parts of Texas and Oklahoma again. In fact, this is the big target zone from the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma into southwestern Kansas. There is not only the threat of hailstones, high winds, but also a tornado threat. Now today we have a Torcon value of 5 and 6 across parts of the Midwest, but it's a 3 here on Saturday of the panhandle of Texas. So that means a 30% chance now of tornadoes with some of these storms here within a 50-mile radius of the panhandle here. So we'll be watching this on Saturday for sure. Dallas, thunderstorms for you as well, heading through the weekend and even the beginning of next week. Look at the temperatures. They remain pretty consistent, but we'll be watching the radar for the possibility of more storms. Again, keeping you updated on the threat of severe weather for the rest of the evening. Alex and Dave coming up next. Stay tuned.
As day turns to night, the threat of dangerous storms continues. Again, we'll be watching the skies for lowerings that could produce tornadoes. But tonight, That threat is further east.
And of course, it's not just tornadoes that can be destructive. How about the winds gusting over 60 miles an hour, deadly lightning, large hail? With nearly 40 million people at risk tonight, we've got severe thunderstorm and tornado watches from just east of Dallas all the way up to Chicago and then out the upper Ohio Valley.
Absolutely. We've got a lot going on right now. We have active storms as well. We're going to be walking you through it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Wilson here with Dave Schwartz. We're going to be with you for the next 4 hours covering this severe weather.
And a tornado warning right now just southwest of Iowa City, Iowa. Large hail has been reported, and that's part of the area in the danger zone tonight. Our goal is to keep you prepared and protected.
We've got live reporters and storm chasers out there. They've got the cameras. They're going to let you know what they're seeing and what they're expecting to see as we go forward. But we've got to start with our severe weather expert out in the lab, Dr. Greg Forbes.
And boy, the extent of those watches that you showed, that just goes to show how big of an area is being affected today. Maybe with a hail up to 3 inches in diameter, 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and probably some tornadoes. We've already had at least one of those and could be a strong tornado. Let's take a look. Part of the ingredients where we're likely to get the strongest tornadoes are up in parts of the Midwest, where this surface low is pretty strong for April, and that means parts of Missouri, eastern Iowa, Illinois likely to get the biggest chance of tornadoes. But this cold front and out ahead of that in this very warm, very moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, many of the watches are there. Then warm air heading out the Ohio Valley. Lots of severe thunderstorms out that way. We'll start with the tornado warning. That's out in eastern parts of Iowa here. Washington County, you have a tornado warning there. Storm getting a little bit better organized in terms of a clear notch out on its leading edge there. You can see previously it looked like the tornado might be wrapped in rain, but now it probably has a little clear sky, warm inflow ahead of that, coming toward areas just south of Richmond, up toward the Lone Tree area, about 424 as it moves north and east at about 45 miles per hour. Here's the high definition radar of that. Supercell thunderstorm with the body of the storm with the hail. Now a gust front, an appendage coming down the south side. Taking a look at that, see what the velocities look like. Looks like perhaps some of the rain-cooled air has wrapped around, so tornado may be sitting right up at the north edge of that, and if so, that seems like a likely area that would take that tornado up toward the Riverside, the Lone Tree areas, as I was talking about. Continue to monitor that one way down to the south edge of where all of those watches were in effect. Anywhere from southwest of Texarkana into southern parts of Arkansas, big line of thunderstorms, severe warned, and lone storm there in northeast Texas. Probably will fill in those. Some severe thunderstorms there in northwest parts of Arkansas. And this is the line that's kind of along the cold front with a tornado warning on the north edge of that. Big cluster of severe thunderstorms out in the Ohio Valley. Visible satellite shows that squall line that is forming, at least broken line of thunderstorms from the tornado warned storm down into northwest Arkansas along and ahead of that cold front. One additional storm in there north of Columbia, north of I-70 in Missouri there, Audrain, Boone, and Monroe counties, and just a huge cluster of thunderstorms out in southeast Ohio. One line of thunderstorms east of Cambridge along I-70 working its way toward the Wheeling, West Virginia area. So many areas with hail damaging winds and a tornado threat today. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you guys so much. One of the areas that we are watching very closely is the Chicago area. 5 out of 10 on the Torcon today. Dr. Forbes was mentioning the threat. We've seen some storms in and around the area, but expecting more action later on.
Yeah, we had some tornadoes down in Peoria County earlier today, but Chicago's going to get into it because they're nice and warm and humid. Here's Reynolds Wolf. He's standing by live in Chicago. What's it feel like, Reynolds?
It feels kind of muggy and warm, you know, just like you described. And what's funny is we started off our day earlier around 3, 4 o'clock or so, and I'll tell you, at that point it was very cold. We had temperatures that were in the low to mid 40s, had plenty of fog, some light drizzle coming down, and we've really seen a transformation, seeing the warm front come through, very, very buoyant atmosphere with high humidity, high dew points, and the result has been a lot of scattered showers and some thunderstorms that have come through. Hey, very quickly, let's go back in time. Let's show you some of the video that we've had from around the region. We've called this video in. This shows you some of the lightning that we've had. Ba-boom! And there's more where that came from. We certainly had a touch of that around here. We might see some more develop as we make our way into the evening hour. Very quickly, right behind me, you see the toll road. That's 294. The sky is kind of split in half. We see much of the shower activity drifting off towards the northeast. Meanwhile, as we circle our way back the other way, back out towards the west, my apologies to Gary, who's doing all the maneuvering. You can see we got some drier air. Also, farther to our southwest is a town that we call St. Louis, Missouri, and that's where we will find your friend and mine, Mike Bettis. Mike, what's the latest you got for us?
Hey, good afternoon to you, Reynolds. Coming to you live here from St. Louis. Just watching the storms very, very closely with that squall line now through central Missouri. And on our way here to St. Louis, you look behind us there, the clouds are now starting to build in here. We've had some broken cloud cover through the day. We actually had a good deal of sunshine earlier in the day. And what that really does is gives us some surface heating. That increases the instability in the atmosphere, some buoyancy in the atmosphere. It creates heat at the surface, cooler air above it. We call that an unstable atmosphere, and that allows for storms to really begin to build. Another thing that we're watching, and we've watched this pretty closely, we've had some fairly strong winds here in St. Louis. I pulled out my anemometer here, attached it to my iPad, and we've been recording the winds here. They've generally been around 15 miles per hour. Every now and then we'll get a gust that goes, you know, maybe 25 or so. But these winds are generally out of the south. Got the American flag for you right here. Maybe even just a slight southeast component to the wind, but at the upper levels of the atmosphere, not down here where the flag and you and me live, the winds are generally out of the southwest or the west-southwest, and so we've got a bit of turning with height with those winds. That's called the wind shear. So the possibility that it could be an atmosphere that could spawn some rotating supercell thunderstorms. They could be spinning within a squall line. That's certainly something we're following, Dave and Alex, with this big squall line that's really chucking, by the way. It's going 60 miles an hour forward speed, so it won't be long before it's here in St. Louis. Anticipate them right here in downtown, maybe around 6 o'clock, or between 6 and 7 o'clock. And when it comes in, a lot of wind, maybe some hail like we saw south of town. We had some big hail, by the way, in Farmington, Missouri, where it knocked out, you know, some windows to cars and homes, did some damage. We could see a repeat performance tonight, so something that we're following for you very, very closely. Anticipate hit time here in maybe 2 hours or so. Heads up, St. Louis. Here it comes.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. We're going to be checking in with you. Got a new tornado warning to tell you about. This one into the state of Ohio, looking at the northwest corner of Ohio. And this storm is moving quickly off towards the northeast. We've got Sandusky, Seneca, and Wood counties in the path of this one. Thinking right in that little notch is where that tornado would be. Again, moving quickly to the northeast. If you're in Ballville or Fostoria, seek shelter.
This is a live look at the Arch in the Gateway City, St. Louis, Missouri. A threat for severe weather, especially west and north of St. Louis later on. It's really heating up here, and a cold front is moving into the Show Me State from the west. It's all clear now in Kansas City, but from central and eastern Missouri, that's where we've got the threat for the most severe weather this afternoon and evening.
We want to get back out to the lab with severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes. Dr. Forbes, we've got a tornado warning in the state of Iowa, but also 2 into Ohio, and that extends into West Virginia.
Yeah, 1 in northern Ohio, 1 in southern Ohio, and 1 in eastern parts of Iowa. Let's take a look. We'll start with southern Ohio. We're south of Toledo, well to the west of the Cleveland area, north and east of Findlay, Ohio, Sandusky, Seneca, and Wood counties with a tornado warning. This is a classic, albeit a little bit on the small side, supercell with some rotation on the southwest side. That's coming past the West Mill Grove area right now toward Bettsville and the Green Springs area. We'll take a look at this one on high-resolution radar. It's a little far from the radar, but you can see there just near the Fostoria area, the storm, and there is some pretty strong rotation on that. Greens going northeast, red southwest. So near the Bettsville area, heading toward the Bellevue area, dangerous storm with rotation that has just recently developed. Then down in southern Ohio, east of Athens, south and east of Athens, Ohio, heading toward the Parkersburg, West Virginia area, Athens, Washington, and Wood counties there. Tornado warning on that one. That one is going to be heading toward the Parkersburg area about 5:42 p.m. and taking a look then out in the Iowa area. This storm is moving pretty quick to the northeast and is probably moving out of the tornado warned area. The tornado threat seems to be shifting up to the east side of that, up around the Riverside area, heading toward the Nichols and the Moscow and the Wilton areas. I'll take a look at this one on high resolution radar. The storm has some broad rotation up in this area now. It's sort of reorganized itself up around the Lone Tree area. Let me see what kind of rotation we still have at this point. It's still continuing to show that broad area where I think the storm is trying to gust out with some rotation up on the north end of that. And on these kind of storms that gust out like that, you can sometimes get little tornadoes along the leading edge of the gust front as well. So we'll see if they reissue for Riverside, Lone Tree, Conesville, and down into the Ainsworth area. This is all in eastern parts of Iowa. So busy day, getting busier with a new tornado warning now just come in for Audrain County in Missouri.
Absolutely, Dr. Forbes. I'm sure we're going to continue to head out to the lab and check in with you. Want to check out what one of our field crews are seeing in the area right now.
Right. It really helps to have people out in the field ahead of these storms to keep you up to date on what things look like and sirens and the people, how they're... So let's go to Ron Blome. He is in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, Ron, there are watches out to the west of you in Arkansas, but none in Tennessee yet.
Well, give it time. I think they'll be moving over this way because everything is kind of blowing up. Behind me now is south-southwest. We just saw a little light shower blow over from Arkansas, just a little brief rainfall here, and then passed over us. But if you look further into Arkansas, you get a look at radar here in a little bit, you will see that some major supercells have been firing up from Texarkana all the way up, leaning towards Pine Bluff. Whether that passes just north, south, or right through Memphis, not quite sure. But that's going to be the first round of heightened weather that we get here. And then later in the night, near midnight, the front comes through. So Dave and Alex, we'll be here. We'll be watching it all night, and we'll get back to you.
All right, thank you so much. We will be checking in with you as those storms roll closer. Want to take a look at the threat as it extends into tonight, what we're watching for right now. We've got a warning into the state of Missouri. This is the one that Dr. Forbes mentioned. This is for Audrain County. It goes until 4:45 Central Time.
That's a supercell thunderstorm capable of producing very large hail, in addition to the possibility of a tornado, which would be west of Mexico heading east. The Weather Channel's exclusive coverage of the severe weather threat continues at this hour. It's 20 past the hour. St. Louis, partly cloudy. Thunderstorms expected in this evening, some of them possibly severe. Chicago, same story. Warm and humid air has spread out through the nation's heartland.
And Torcon values of 5 for those cities, meaning a 50% chance of a tornado within 50 miles. Let's get to where we are watching right now for the threat of tornadoes. We've got a storm into the state of Missouri. This is in Audrain County near the town of Mexico, really off to the northwest of you. This warning goes until 4:45. We're seeing reports in Centralia, back in Boone County, of wind damage that a trailer was blown over and rolled. So this is producing at least very strong winds capable of damage. So get to that lowest level, most interior room if you are in the path of this storm. Our weather producer, Alan Rios, has been watching this and said some pretty impressive rotation with this.
And undoubtedly some very large hail just to the north of Mexico, heading toward Worcester. I'm not sure how they pronounce that there. Worcester, right here in Audrain County in parts of Missouri.
All right, so if you're in the path of that storm, watch out. We've got 2 tornado warnings into the state of Ohio, one up into the northwest part, north central part of the state. This is near Sandusky, really off towards the south and west. Sandusky County, Seneca County, and Wood counties underneath that warning. That goes until 5:45. So again, if you're in the path of this one, lowest level, most interior. And we've got another one down into the southern part of the state of Ohio for Athens County, getting over into parts of West Virginia, including the Parkersburg area. You are just on the fringe of that storm. So Athens and Washington counties in Ohio, Wood County in West Virginia, 5:45 Eastern Time is when that expires.
You can clearly see that hook west of Parkersburg, huh?
Yeah.
Well, St. Louis is one city that could see power outages from damaging winds and even a tornado.
Let's check in with meteorologist Mike Bettis.
Watching the weather very closely from St. Louis, Missouri, where strong storms could potentially blow through with high winds and knock out power. The good news is Duracell's got you covered. The Duracell Power Forward team is here. They're ready to recharge your life because check out their tricked out truck. They can charge 72 different devices at one time. Imagine losing power in your neighborhood. This rolls up. And just plug in your phone and you call home just like that. I'm in fact charging my phone even as we speak. Let's check in with Mike Wynn from Duracell. Mike, good to see you. You've got a lot more tricks up your sleeve other than just these power outlets.
Yes, sir. We also have shore power that holds about 1,000 hours of power.
Love this. This is really cool. This is for hardcore electricity, right? And then the back, you're still ready to power people up.
Along with the free batteries and mobile charging stations, we provide free Duracell batteries.
Literally thousands of batteries. So maybe you want to get your camera going, your video camera, flashlight, something like that. You can do that with the batteries.
Yes, sir.
Cool stuff. People want to communicate, though, when they're in a storm. Their relatives, their friends, they want to know that they're okay. You've got them covered in that regard, too.
Yes, we also have mobile computer stations where you can reconnect on Facebook, get information from the Weather Channel as well as Red Cross. And you can also follow us at our Duracell Twitter page, @Duracell.
Now, you've done this several years, gone through a lot of storms with these vehicles.
Yes, sir. We've been a program since 2011, seen 18 disasters and helped over 30,000 families.
And here in St. Louis to help folks out in case they need it.
We're proud to be here.
Mike, appreciate your time, and we're watching the weather very closely. That's the very latest from St. Louis with Duracell. Guys, back to you.
And here's a look at the radar just to the west of where Mike is in St. Louis. It is a tornado warning for Audrain County, Missouri. Take cover.
Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Alex Wilson here with Dave Schwartz, and we have a very active setup today. Everywhere you see the gold, that's a severe thunderstorm watch. Those go until 10 o'clock Eastern time for the one in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. Also parts of Kentucky. We've got one off towards the west that goes until 10 o'clock Central time, and all of the red shaded areas, that is where we have tornado watches in effect as well. We've got several warnings in play at this point also.
We do. We have a couple of tornado warnings in Ohio, despite the fact that there's no tornado watch, but there's one south of Sandusky. Another tornado warning is a tornado may be moving in toward Parkersburg, West Virginia. We've had reports of tornadoes in Peoria County, Illinois earlier today, and numerous reports of trees down and barns destroyed from the Ohio Valley all the way back into Missouri and Iowa. And now new thunderstorms are developing in western Arkansas. So this is all part of the severe weather outbreak. This is going to be the biggest day. The next day will be along the East Coast tomorrow. So you folks on the I-95 corridor, be aware of that. And you can see all the radar echoes and the little red and yellow boxes. That indicates where the severe weather is now. Low pressure near eastern Iowa, that's where severe weather is. Down a line through Missouri, that's the cold front, to the thunderstorms over the Ozark Plateau back there in southern Missouri and northwest Arkansas. And south of Dallas, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning west of Pittsburgh also, and near Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right, we want to take you out to the state of Missouri, where we have a tornado warning in effect for this area, and we've got some chasers headed that way. Near Mexico, Missouri is where you are looking at this live camera from. It's Audrain County that's under the tornado warning. Mexico and Rush Hill are the cities in the path of this one, although Mexico, you're in the clear for this one. It's really off towards your north, but it is moving off towards the north and east. 4:45 Central Time is when that one expires, and we want to head out to the lab now with severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes to get more on this tornado warning as well as the others, including the ones in Ohio and West Virginia.
Yeah, and some good news, Alex. We have the National Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for northern Ohio. We still have a tornado warning in southern Ohio. The big picture here, surface low spinning its way across eastern Iowa with a cold front coming down, very warm air all the way ahead of that. Chicago's had some rain to cool their temperatures down, but a lot of this warm air goes all the way up to that warm front there that is up in the Cleveland area with some severe thunderstorms, especially in the warm air right along the Ohio River there. So this is where we'll start. We're talking about southern Ohio and up into the Parkersburg, West Virginia area. You can see on this radar the hook echo that's showing there. Tornado warning for Athens and Washington and Wood counties as this storm's moving east at about 45 miles per hour. Tornado right inside that little notch near the Decatur, probably just to the north of Parkersburg, 545, and then heading farther east into West Virginia. Here's the high resolution radar. You can see this is a supercell thunderstorm hooking around, a couple of bird wings coming together. Tornado is in this part of the storm here, heading in between toward the area between Vienna and Parkersburg in West Virginia, Vienna, Ohio, Parkersburg, West Virginia. Here showing the reds going northbound, the greens going southbound. So that is the place where the rotation is strongest. At this point, we're a little far from the radar. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to see. There are some specks of lowered return there. Might be some debris showing up in this. Have not had confirmations of tornado at this time, but earlier we've had some 1-inch hail and some reports of winds down from this storm, so could be producing a tornado. Now out to the state of Missouri, where we've had at the Centralia, Missouri area, mobile homes overturned. Here's a supercell thunderstorm, Audrain counties. This is well to the north and west of the St. Louis area. There's additional storms out near Jefferson City and in a line that will work its way towards St. Louis. We'll probably have to switch the timeline on this one a little bit. The tornado threat there just now to the north of Worcester, heading up toward Vandalia, Missouri. And you see the timeline there in the upper right. Going to the high definition radar on this one, a little bit lopsided with the hook echo sort of oriented north-south rather than sometimes they're oriented like this. So this one a little unusual, but the circulation in this case on the east side, we'll take a look at the velocities on this one. It has been showing up pretty strongly. In this case with the reds going that way, the greens going that way. So big broad rotation with a possible tornado in there. We'll take a look, see if we see any debris signature on this one. Mostly it's in this red colors that indicates precipitation. So at this point we're not seeing the evidence that there's a tornado on the ground. That said, either wind or possibly a tornado has caused some damage previously back in the Centralia area. Big areas of thunderstorms here and there along the cold front, northwest Arkansas, out ahead of the cold front in East Texas, up into southeast parts of Arkansas, and additional storms that are rolling across from eastern Iowa down to that tornado warning in Missouri. Dave, Alex?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Forbes.
Yeah, Charles Hadlock is on the scene, and he's shooting those pictures that we're seeing on the left. There's the full screen of it. That's part of the wall cloud out here near Mexico, Missouri. Charles, we've got you on the phone. Tell us what you're seeing, what the trend is.
Right now, we are just to the northeast of Perry, Missouri, just to the northeast of Mexico, Missouri. We're watching the wall cloud and what possibly could be a frontal cloud. We haven't seen any rotation with it at the moment, but it is slowly moving off to the northeast. This is part of a line of storms that had formed earlier today in western Missouri that broke off into small supercells and now moving across parts of central Missouri. This tornado warning has been in effect now for a few minutes in this county for people in this area. Luckily, it's a rural area and not many homes or structures threatened by it, Dave and Alex.
And that was going to be my next question. It does look like the National Weather Service is thinking that maybe the rotation is weakening a bit and may switch over to a severe thunderstorm warning. But in your travels, have you talked to folks there? I mean, knowing that the threat is high again today for severe weather, are they nervous? Are they getting prepared?
Everywhere we go, everyone is talking about the weather. This has been an event that has been forecast for several days. People are watching the Weather Channel. They're watching local television, keeping up to date on the storms that are moving across the region at the moment. And right now, everyone is prepared for this because the warnings have gone out over the last few days that this was going to be a severe weather event day, and it evidently is taking place right now in central Missouri.
Now, Charles, that's a beautiful shot you've got for us. The right side, all the way down to the ground, is dark. But that's not a tornado. That's probably hail or rain or both. And then we have the inflow side of the storm on the left side. That's where the visibility is much better. And typically, that would be one place where you'd see a tornado.
Correct. That's why we have stopped where we are right now to see which way this is going to go, either to the right of us or to the left of us, and it looks like it's going just to the left, so we might want to back up just a bit to be safe out of its way. But you're right, the rain core is to the right, and that shelf cloud, possibly a frontal cloud, is to the left. Haven't seen any rotation here. I've been watching it, but no rapid rotation anyway, Dave and Alex.
All right, and where are you planning to go? Are you planning to head over into, say, the state of Illinois throughout the day, or are you going to stick in eastern Missouri?
We will follow this storm for a while to see where it goes until nightfall, and then to be safe, we'll probably park the vehicle overnight somewhere.
Good idea. Well, Charles Hadlock, thank you very much for talking to us now, and I'm sure we'll be checking in with you throughout the evening. I want to talk about the forecast for tonight because he did mention that once the sun goes down, things turn a little bit more dangerous for those chasers. Forecast tonight showing storms severe possible all the way from the Great Lakes down into parts of Texas. And when we look at some of those Torcon values, they remain elevated into the overnight. Eastern Illinois and Indiana, you have a 6 out of 10 for the Torcon. Further off to the south, it's a 4 out of 10 or 40% chance of a tornado for southern Kentucky and western Tennessee. Northern Mississippi, you have a 4 out of 10 on the Torcon. So that's what we'll be watching even as we go into the overnight. Get that app ready to alert you if a warning's issued while you're asleep.
Here's a live shot of Storm Tracker NBC reporter Charles Hadlock. And he's been keeping an eye on a thunderstorm that's produced a wall cloud, the precursor of a possible tornado. And he's in northeastern Missouri, one of the states that is impacted by this severe weather outbreak.
All right, we want to send it out to the lab with our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. Looks like we've got at least an extension on that other tornado warning into Ohio and West Virginia, Dr. Forbes.
Yeah, that's the tornado warning that's down near Parkersburg, West Virginia. Before the break, we were showing you and in fact, right now, we were showing you viewers from the camera out there in Missouri, the storm chaser in Missouri. That storm is still spinning its way up toward Bowling Green in Missouri. The view that they've been taking, they've been off to the north and east of that. So if you were watching us from just before the break, they were up to the northeast looking back to the southwest. So they were talking about rain being off to their right. That certainly was the case. And then you could see that wall cloud that was to the left. That's what you were seeing in terms of that storm structure, that rotating thunderstorm. Now, brand new tornado warning issued just to the east of the Parker and east-northeast of the Parkersburg, West Virginia area. Supercell thunderstorm there going just to the north of Parkersburg, right along the Ohio-West Virginia line, Pleasants, Washington, and Wood counties there. We'll go to the high-definition radar and show, well, first we'll track this out. It's coming toward the Cornerville area, just to the north of Parkersburg, and then just to the north of the Ellenboro area. That Ellenboro is in West Virginia, about 623 for that. Here's the high-definition radar. Shows a little spot right down at the bottom, the main body of the storm with hail bigger than 1 inch in diameter. The tornado will be in that little spot at the bottom and pushing its way up toward, probably heading into the area just to the south of St. Mary's. Let me take a look at the velocities on this one. Continues to have pretty strong velocities, with the reds going northbound, the greens going southbound. So that's what we call the tornado vortex signature that is headed that way. Not with a tornado warning on it, but I should point out that farther to the north and east, there are winds have gusted 60 miles per hour at Wheeling, West Virginia, as a whole line of thunderstorms moves toward the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. So there are storms in many locations out there today, and we'll continue to keep you covered with those. Let's go back to the studio.
Thank you, Dr. Forbes. We'll check back in with you right now. Want to get out to another one of our crews that are live in the field to tell you what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like.
Yeah, this is Ron Blom. He is an NBC reporter standing by live in Memphis. Ron, what does it look like?
Well, the severe weather for Memphis is a coming attraction at this point. We've had a few light showers come through, but this story is being developed over in Arkansas right now. There are 7 severe thunderstorm warnings playing out in Arkansas, all from cells that have just popped up in the last couple of hours. 5 of them in southwest Arkansas, 2 more in northwest Arkansas, and we're facing into a south-southwest wind of about 20 miles an hour. All of that pushing that same weather and conditions, the heat and the atmospheric instability into the Memphis area. So what can we expect? I think we'll get through rush hour with only a few light showers. Early evening, we're going to see some of those showers blowing in from Arkansas of unknown severity at this point in time. We don't have any watches or warnings yet, but we're keeping a close eye on it. And then later tonight, around midnight, the front comes in. And if you've looked at some of the temperature disparities there, it's enormous spread between here and there. It's 84 degrees in Memphis right now. The overnight low forecast here is 54 degrees. So when you get that kind of a drastic change, you're going to see some kind of storms and winds popping up. And hopefully, most of those are going to stay in the agricultural areas where they've been over in eastern Arkansas and not coming through greater Memphis area, especially with the population area. So Dave and Alex, we're going to keep a close eye on it tonight. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Good to have you on the case.
Absolutely. We've got a new tornado warning to tell you about. This one up in the northern part of West Virginia, southern part of Pennsylvania, including the Morgantown area. So we've got Monongalia County as well as Fayette and Greene counties included within this one. Includes the city of Cheat Lake. Morgantown, you are included. It might stay a little bit north of you, but definitely get to your safe spot, that lowest level, most interior room, and also Westover.
And there's some severe warnings along that line that just moved through Wheeling, gusting to 60 miles per hour. And that line continues all the way back toward Muskingum. Get out of a mobile home if you're in a mobile home when one of these storms heads toward you. Now this. So many severe threat areas, we had to divide it into 2 maps. From areas south of Dallas toward Waco and Austin, a severe thunderstorm watch till 10. Then we pick up the tornado watches for northeast Texas, the Piney Woods, over to Shreveport, southern Arkansas, and then from Little Rock to Fort Smith northward into central Missouri, severe. Then we get back to the tornado threat, and it's in Illinois where we've only had our confirmed tornadoes today. That was north of Peoria. And we had a new threat area. That's St. Louis. That area is now in a tornado watch till 11 o'clock for southwestern Illinois, east central Missouri. And you see the severe thunderstorm watches, which now include Pittsburgh, where damaging winds will be in town within the hour.
Want to get more expert analysis on these storms as well as the threat? Severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes joins us now from the lab.
Thanks, Alex. And all of the tornado warnings at the moment are in that eastern severe thunderstorm watch that includes the Pittsburgh area and parts of West Virginia. There's quite a squall line. It's already had 60-mile-per-hour winds in Wheeling marching into the Pittsburgh area. And so we've timed that one out to give you some feeling for coming right into downtown Pittsburgh about 6:12, Mount Pleasant, 6:45, Indiana, PA, about 6:56 p.m. Then we'll slide down to the Pennsylvania West Virginia border, just to the north and west of Morgantown. Our most recently issued tornado warning, Fayette, Greene, and Monongalia counties there, heading east at about 45 miles per hour. Right now, it's very close to the core area, heading up toward the Elliottsville area of Pennsylvania, right along that straddling the state line. Has a very well-defined supercell thunderstorm with a hook on that. We'll take a look at the velocities on this. It is definitely showing some rotation, broad rotation, but some touching there right over the core area. So if there's a tornado at the moment, the tornado vortex signature is right over core, heading toward north of Cheat Lake and south of Port Marion. Then back to the west, we've had rotating wall clouds seen with this north and east of Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's coming right along the Ohio border there, Pleasants, Washington, and Wood counties. And taking a look at that one and tracking that one out, heading toward the Bearsville, the Briggs area there of West Virginia, as it's a little bit off to the south and west of the one that is on the Pennsylvania line. And taking a look at this one, pretty well defined hook echo on this one again. The tornado will be down in that little notch at the end of the hook. And this one is showing very good rotation, northbound and southbound, right about that area, right across the Ohio River there, and headed its way east toward the area between Schultz and St. Mary's. So, Dave and Alex, busy evening ahead in many areas. I still think we'll see more tornadoes out in the Midwest area, but for the moment, the activity's in the eastern part of the Ohio Valley.
Absolutely. You mentioned off towards the west. That's where we've got one of our crews, Indianapolis, one of the areas that we are watching for the threat of strong storms, even tornadoes.
And Dave Malkoff is there. Dave, what do you see?
Well, Dave and Alex, this is the historic Ransom Place neighborhood just north of downtown. You can see, so people are watching the skies here, but there was a very tragic accident that happened yesterday with the storm that we have to tell you about. There was a woman, she's 75 years old. She was cleaning storm debris with her husband just about an hour west of us in Danville, and this woman was in there, and then the floodwaters came and swept her into a pipe. Her body was found in about a mile away. So this is a lesson that you need to know about, because these fast-moving waters can be dangerous and deadly. So stay away from those waters, especially when you got these storms coming through. That was a very, very tragic accident that happened just last night. But right now we're watching the sky. Nothing yet. We'll check in with you in about a half an hour.
All right, thank you, Dave. Yeah, sad story. You can't forget about the power of water and how serious you need to take flash flooding.
Absolutely. We're keeping up with the latest tornado warnings. We've got one. It's riding the Ohio River right now as we zoom in here. This is the counties of Pleasants, Washington, and Wood. And it looks like if there is a tornado with this one, you'll see it's just north of Parkersburg, the southwest flank of that big red storm, moving into an area where you used to work, Alex.
Yeah, you know, it's also getting into a little bit of Ritchie County. Notice they've extended that a little bit off towards the southwest. So you got Parkersburg, a fairly populated area. I mean, we're talking about a lot of people in this part of the state of West Virginia. Another populated area in the state, the Morgantown area, getting into southwest PA, Fayette, Greene, and Monongalia counties under a tornado warning until 6:15. Cheat Lake area, Morgantown, you guys in the path of this one, as well as Westover, lowest level, most interior room for your safe spot. We take you out near Perry, Missouri, where we've been watching storms as well.
Yeah, look to the right. Well, here are watches, and I'll tell you they're just about to cross the Mississippi River, so heads up in Tennessee and Mississippi later on tonight. Shreveport under a tornado warning. Little Rock, severe thunderstorm watch. Fort Smith, same story. Kansas out of the mix today. Oklahoma just about out of the mix. But further north, that's where the warm air is, all the way up to near Milwaukee. Chicago, tornado warning. Here in Springfield, make that a tornado watch. Springfield tornado watch, and St. Louis tornado watch. The threat for tornadoes in there, and there may be some tornadoes in West Virginia right now, and there could be a couple of them.
Right, we've got 2 warnings into West Virginia, or near the Parkersburg and near the Morgantown area. We'll talk more about that in a second, but let's take a look at this new video coming in of a funnel cloud in Dunlap, Illinois. You can see that little extension. Now, what's the difference between a funnel cloud and a tornado? tornado, you might ask, because some people might think, hey, it looks like we're looking at a tornado. That funnel needs to make it all the way to the surface for you to get the actual tornado. But here, a good look at a funnel cloud.
Quite often, the funnel won't make it all the way down, but there is debris swirling at the ground. That is a tornado.
Yep.
As long as we have the winds all the way down to the ground, the damaging swirling winds, you have a tornado. The visibility on this one is awesome. Now, this is not a strong tornado, not at that point. Just north of Peoria, Illinois was where this was shot. This was heading toward Chillicothe at the time. This was about 1 o'clock this afternoon. We could see some more thunderstorms in the same area. Most of the state of Illinois is under a tornado watch until 11 o'clock. That not only includes Peoria, it includes Chicago, Rockford, Springfield, Champaign, almost the entire state into northwestern Indiana.
Absolutely. So these areas need to be weather aware. Torcons of 5 and 6 for that part of the country, 50 or 60% chance of a tornado.
Now, we had over 300 severe weather reports into the Storm Prediction Center yesterday. Today, we've had about 40, but that number will climb to triple digits for sure. Let's go to the lab, get the latest on our current threat areas with Dr. Forbes.
Thanks, Dave. And definitely that last video you saw there that had the funnel, but then you saw the dust and debris cloud right down at the ground. That definitely is a tornado, even though the funnel was not necessarily all the way to the ground. Here's the picture today. Surface low over eastern Iowa, warm front up through the Milwaukee and area and Detroit area. So a lot of warm, moist air that's come all the way ahead of that blue cold front up into these states, as well as down near a stationary front that comes down through the Appalachians, and it's pretty warm there in West Virginia, and so there's some storms in there and along the Pennsylvania border that still have tornado warnings. A line of thunderstorms with packing at least 60 miles per hour. The whole line itself is moving about 60 miles per hour, coming right into the Pittsburgh area. So Pittsburgh coming into about 616. Hempfield, that's sort of my home area there, about 641. Indiana, PA, about 7 o'clock. Then we come down to the Pittsburgh, so the Pennsylvania, West Virginia border area north of Morgantown, Fayette, Greene, and Monongalia counties. Supercell thunderstorm there with a possibility of tornado running from just across the border in there north of Cassville up into the air right along the border near Five Forks there, Pennsylvania, West Virginia border. Here is that storm. You see the main body of the supercell thunderstorm, the appendage coming just down to the south there. And so we'll have a tornado that is possible coming right along there. The green's going northbound, the red southbound. Tornado signature on that one is relatively strong for these mountainous areas that don't get a whole lot of tornadoes. Then farther to the west, north and east of Parkersburg, West Virginia, the black line here is the Ohio River. So you see the hook echo on the south side of this one. Pleasants, Washington, and Wood counties included in the tornado warning. It's going to be just to the east and southeast of Cornerville right now, heading toward the Big Moses area. And taking a look at this one in high resolution radar, this one has had some big hail, some baseball size hail. Still has that well-defined hook showing up, still has some well-defined rotation. It's had wall cloud, rotating wall cloud showing up, and you can see why. It has very strong rotation. In fact, strong enough that I'm going to see if it has any debris signature showing up. There is some blue speckling that shows up in there. Let me circle the blue right up in through there, put that main body of the radar back in. The part of this, though, is that a lot of that blue is in low return, so we can't be sure that that's debris. It could be insects that are and dust that are just flying around in the inflow to the storm. Here's some of the big picture then. Cold front sort of comes down from southwest Missouri down into Oklahoma, down into the Dallas area. There are severe thunderstorms, many of them out ahead of that and along the cold front itself, as well as up along the cold front there into the Illinois-Iowa border and now up into southern parts of Wisconsin. So we'll continue to keep you updated on as many of these as we can, and certainly all of those tornado warnings. Alex?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Forbes. Want to take you out to near Perry, Missouri, where we've got a chaser, Charles Hadlock, with us. He's been providing us with live video from what he's looking at, as well as commentary, basically. And Charles, I understand we have you on the phone again. It appears we're looking at a rainbow.
Another rainbow. We saw one yesterday,
That's
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We are just south of Hannibal, Missouri, and with this rainbow has appeared after the storm that produced a funnel cloud moved across the area past Frankfort, Missouri, and crossing the Mississippi River right now, heading toward Rockford, Illinois, it looks like, on the radar. But yes, this is a storm that has passed and is leaving a rainbow behind. Thankfully, there's no damage from the strong winds and the the funnel cloud that was seen in that severe thunderstorm that moved through the area just a few minutes ago. It looks like this part of Missouri is still under the gun for a few more hours, perhaps. The cold front is still just to the west of us here. It just passed by Kansas City, and the temperatures behind the front are in the 30s. Right now, we're registering 74 degrees here just south of Hannibal. Back to you, Dave and Alex.
That is a sharp cold front, huh?
That is. Thank you so much. NBC News correspondent Charles Hadlock, we're going to be checking in with him as he is out and about in the field.
And our next stop takes us to Reynolds Wolf. He's standing by live in Chicago. What do you see, Reynolds?
Coming to us. Well, I'll tell you right now, we're having is mostly sunny skies. I mean, what a kaleidoscope of weather conditions we've had earlier. You can see off in the distance. Gary, you don't feel like you have to point at the sun, but you can see we've got clear skies coming through. I know in radar we have a couple of storms farther to our southwest, some about 50 miles away, but it's clear, it's warming up. And as you can see right here behind me, traffic along 294, both northbound and southbound, is moving fine. That being said, over to my immediate left, over on this side, you've got O'Hare Airport, where air travel has not been moving that well. In fact, just at 3:30 local time, they had around 90-minute delays, cancellations of over 735 flights. So yeah, as you might imagine, cause and effect of the storms that came through certainly had effect on air travel. Same deal over at Midway, delays of 20 minutes with cancellations of 35 flights. Should things continue to get bad, we see more development of more storms, we might see more of those backups. Understandable, these kind of conditions. Let's send it back to you.
All right, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
11 past the hour, and we've got warnings and watches in the central and eastern time zone right now, from western Pennsylvania and West Virginia all the way back to southern Wisconsin. Boy, west of Madison, Wisconsin, there's a nasty looking thunderstorm, and then back down through Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, into Texas, right along a cold front. Tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches, and warnings. And we've got you up to date. We're in the studio, Alex and me. Dr. Forbes is live in the lab. Let's go to him with the latest.
Right, we've got a new one, Dr. Forbes, this one in Iowa.
Yeah, and I've covered every tornado warning thus far today, and this is by far the strongest rotation that we've seen on Doppler radar. I'm pretty sure there's a tornado in progress, so let's take a look. We're talking about extreme eastern Iowa, just to the north of I-80 there, just to the north and west of Davenport, Iowa, with a tornado warning. We'll zoom in a little bit more and get this is Scott County with that tornado warning, and the hook is showing up right there. In fact, if you kind of watch, you can see the whole storm spiraling its way northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Donahue, Eldridge, and the Hickory Grove area with a possibility of a tornado. There is the hook right there. This, in fact, that little spot may be a debris ball that's indicative of where the exact tornado is. So heading toward the Low Moor area, ultimately toward Clinton, Illinois. Zooming in on high definition radar here, you see how this is a hook echo that spirals its way around. This, too, like previous storm in Iowa that had a tornado warning, is in Missouri that had tornado warning, is kind of the body of the storms oriented north-south, the inflow coming in from the east, and the strong rotation camera of the storm is there at the left. And so right about here is where the tornado is located. I'll pop up the velocities here if I get my mouse to move. There it is. Extremely strong rotation. Can you see that? The greens and blues going south and eastbound, the reds northbound. That's what we call a tornado vortex signature. I'll leave that circled. Pop up our dual pole correlation coefficient. If I can make my mouse move. My mouse is stuck for some reason. There, I got it to go. And we'll see that there is, you hear me talking about a little blue debris ball signature right under that debris ball. This is it. So in my opinion, there is a tornado in progress in the areas just to the west-southwest of Donahue in eastern Iowa, going to be working its way up toward the Donahue area very quickly at about 45 miles per hour, embedded in a storm that, and I again, my mouse is kind of stuck here, that is hooking. It has a very well-defined hook, and there it is, just a brand new scan has come in. This is what I call a debris ball. The tornado is in there. We'll see if we got a brand new velocity scan come in with that. Yes, we did. The greens and the reds are showing up. Tornado in progress by all indications on Doppler radar. You see that blue debris, tornado debris signature that's showing up there, along with the velocity signature. In the terms of asking the radar how intense is the rotation, blues, greens, yellows, it's up to the third level. Moderately strong rotation showing up here in this Doppler radar. By all indications, this is casting up debris into a debris ball, both by the regular way that we see the high return in the return from the radar, as well as the debris. That debris signature that I've been showing, and that's what this looks like, that little blue hole, that is from the dual pole radar. When you get tumbling debris, leaves, and maybe pieces of sheeting from roofs, you get this kind of a low return there that shows up as these blue holes on the debris signature. So watch out. Right around Donahue, Iowa, there is a tornado coming your way, and then continuing farther off toward the north and east, toward the Gambrill area, the McCausland area, moving toward the Low Moor area of Illinois. Keep watching the Weather Channel. We'll keep you updated on these and what I am afraid will be more storms before the night is over.
A tornado confirmed on the ground near Stockton, Iowa.
Right, National Weather Service chat reporting that confirmed tornado is located near Donahue, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. You're getting a look at one of our chaser cams from near Stockton, Iowa. So in the area of this storm, but again, a confirmed tornado on the ground. Want to get back out to severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes for more on this storm. And Dr. Forbes, you expected that it was a tornado on the ground, and now we've confirmed it.
Yeah, before the break there, we were warning Donahue, Iowa, and that indeed is where the tornado is. We were seeing that had it been pretty clear that it was a tornado based on Doppler radar, and now we're getting confirmations of that. Here's the tornado. It's off to the west-northwest of Davenport, Iowa here, north of the I-80 juncture region, and heading now 50 miles per hour off toward the toward the east-northeast. It's beginning to perhaps gust out a little bit. You're seeing less of a hook, more of this backward C shape to that. Still, though, Scott County, you have a tornado warning, and that may be extended off toward the north and east. The tornado is about in this area, heading toward the Low Moor area, and then ultimately toward the Clinton, Illinois area. We'll go to the high-definition radar and take a look at this in great detail. I'll push it a little bit to the left here. Here is the location of Donahue, and so there's been a tornado right near there. Mostly what you're seeing now is this gust front that is surging forward. I'll take a look and see if in the most recent velocities what we're getting now is mostly that kind of a signature of a big gust front that is pushed out with winds that are going like this, winds that are going like that. So could be a tornado that is made a left turn off to the north and east of the Donahue area. Let me see and that is indeed what the case is. There is that debris signature that is showing up here, that lowered value in terms of the dual pole radar, the tumbling motion. The reds and purple surrounding that are precipitation. So there's where the tornado is now, off to the north of Donahue, heading maybe toward the DeWitt or areas between DeWitt and the Gambrill area. I'll back this particular signature up a few steps, the radar's time steps. There you see it. I'll circle this one again. Maybe I'll circle this one in red. So there was the debris signature. We'll go back another time step. And this is as it was just going past to the north and west of the Donahue area. And this is, when I talked to you before the break, this is where where I was seeing the debris ball, where I was seeing the debris signature that went along with the debris ball. So that debris ball signature we've lost, but still the rotation is heading off to the northeast. Let me step you forward then in the way that we normally look at the radar, and you'll see that debris ball going off to the northwest. And now what's left of the debris ball is no longer nearly as well defined, but still appears to be a tornado there heading into the area between the DeWitt and the Gambrill area. So a dangerous storm there. It has also produced golf ball size hail. It might be larger than that around the Dixon area heading toward the Grand Mound area. Those hail tracks tend to go just a few miles to in this case, to the north and west of where the tornado would be going. And there is, by the way, a brand new tornado warning, Butler County in Pennsylvania. We'll go back to Dave and Alex in the studio.
Absolutely. You just mentioned Pennsylvania. We're watching that state as they've got a new tornado warning out in Butler County. Now, this is to the north of the Pittsburgh metro area, just north of Wexford. Here's a look at Pittsburgh right now. You can see the storms have been rolling through. At this point, I think the worst of it out of the majority of Pittsburgh, the downtown Pittsburgh, but the eastern areas, they are still getting hammered with some strong winds and some heavy rain, and it's not a pretty picture out there in
And look how dark it is. It's only 6:23 in the evening. The sun's not set, but we've had a line of strong thunderstorms blow through. At the airport, the wind gusted to 35 miles an hour. There's been a lot of lightning. As you said, the worst of it has moved off to the east now. Temperatures are in the 70s in western Pennsylvania, but over toward Johnstown and Du Bois, they're in the 40s. So we expect these storms to begin to weaken in about a half an hour. But right at the head of this big squall line, that's where the twist is greatest, and that's where the tornado may be, to the northeast of Wexford, Pennsylvania, south of Butler.
This severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's a radar-indicated tornado. This was located over Mars, moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. So this is moving very quickly. And again, this is a populated area. So we're talking about just north of the Adams area. Now, Cranberry, you're out of the path of this, but it's going to move up towards places like Jefferson and also Butler as it moves quickly to the north and east.
And as you can see, it is wrapped in rain. There's no way you can see it until it's on you. So if you're in one of these communities, Adams, or north of Adams, especially Butler, Lindora, take cover in the lowest level of your home right now. This is all east of Pittsburgh. That's where the worst weather is relative to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Callery, if you're there, make sure you're in your safe spot right now. We have seen reports out of these storms in West Virginia and Pennsylvania offering up some large hail, also offering up some wind damage. Some calls coming in from thunderstorm wind damage being reported in the Pittsburgh National Weather Service chat. And now it looks like I think we've got an extension on that other tornado warning that Dr. Forbes has been watching into the state of Iowa. Let's head back out to the lab.
And ironically, our own severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, is on this. And this is getting into your home area of western Pennsylvania, Dr. Forbes. What are you seeing here in this tornado-warned county?
Yeah, it's this is going to be off to the north and west of my home county. I'm originally from Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania. We're up around the Saxonburg. We have a tornado forming on the camera in Iowa. We're talking about a tornado, as David said, in the calm ahead of this squall line that's come up into the area around Saxonburg. We're going to take you and show you the camera now out of Iowa, where we have a brand new, well, the tornado warning has been reissued, including Scott County and now up into Clinton County in Iowa. So you're seeing there the chasers coming at this. I believe they're coming at it from the south and west. I believe what they're seeing there right in the middle of the picture is probably the gust front that has come out the southwest side of the storm. Off to the left of that, you see sort of a bluish gray, and that is the rain shaft. And then you see a whiter sky in the lower right of the picture there, above where the trees are, to the right of the road. That is the warm inflow that's coming in. The tornado, I think, is going to be farther off to their north and east. So I think they're mostly seeing the clouds above the gust front of the that has come out with the rear flank downdraft that has come wrapping around the southwest and south side of the thunderstorm. David Baxter is on the phone with us, chasing this Iowa storm in the Davenport area. Let's see if he can hear us. David, you're chasing the tornado-warned storm, I guess.
Yeah, we are. We're just south of the tornado warning. Just north of Davenport right now. We're actually getting into the core of the storm right now, where the rotation is just toward north. And
you're just, what's your direction? You're heading due north, I guess?
I'm heading due north on Highway 61, just north of Davenport currently right now. I did just briefly see some debris falling out of the sky as well. So I think there is still possibly a tornado on the ground with the storm.
And I don't know if you have radar on board that you've been watching, but there certainly was a debris signature on this storm earlier down around the Donahue area. And so you're probably seeing debris that has been tossed up in the air and now falling down to the ground from the storm there. Probably the tornado at this point is up in the area between DeWitt and the Gambriel area, heading off to the northeast toward the Lowmoor area. You're probably, and you've gotten back into some rain, so I was telling the viewers that you are probably under the gust front. The clouds you were seeing were probably the shelf cloud along the gust front, and now you're into the rain area that's following that gust front. Does that seem correct to you?
Yeah, there's actually just off to my left, I can actually see the base of the storm. I do not see a current tornado on the ground. I can actually see the base of the thunderstorm right now.
Yeah, the storm is turning from one that was sort of a hook echo type storm to one that's becoming more of a comma-shaped bow echo storm with a rotating head. So I suspect you're probably seeing that rotating comma head-like structure probably a little bit off to your north and west, if I'm understanding you right.
That's correct, yes.
And you may have a possibility of a tornado forming in there. There may also be a tornado that would be off to your northeast on the other side of this rain band that you're pushing through. So you may be doing a little bit of what sometimes the chasers call driving into the bear's cage.
Yep, that's exactly what we're doing.
And
just trying to get a little bit closer to where we're at here.
Yeah, if you come out of that rain, you could see a tornado, or if you continue to go north, you may see that that low-hanging, lowered part of the cloud that's part of the comma head type shape coming at you as it comes eastbound and you're going northbound. You may intersect somewhere there in the area between Gambrill and DeWitt.
Yes.
And do you have a Doppler radar that you're monitoring and plan to?
Yeah, I have a Doppler radar on my computer that I'm monitoring. It should be just to my north is where the circulation is coming across 61. It should be coming across any moment now.
Yeah, we're showing now. I'm seeing a strong rotation signature just about in northwest of Gambrill and southwest of DeWitt. It's probably about 3.5 miles southwest of DeWitt, maybe 3 miles southwest of the DeWitt area, and it probably wrapped in rain. And you may be able to see that now. That is just to the northwest of Gambrill, so you're probably getting very close to that. It looks to me as if there's a rain-wrapped tornado there. I'm looking to see if we have still a little bit of a debris signature showing up with that in the dual pole signature, and it still has a strong rotation showing up there. Coming pretty close to your road, also some 1-inch hail now being reported. Confirmed tornado being reported now near the DeWitt area, moving east at about 50 miles per hour. Oh, you've come out of the rain band. A different chaser now that we're showing, and this chaser is a little bit east, I believe, probably of that rain band. You're seeing sort of the ragged clouds with the more or less rain-free cloud base from the road east and to the right. But then off to the left, you're seeing the rain coming down to the ground. So the tornado may be wrapped in the rain there, just off to the left side, or the very left edge of the picture that you're seeing at home. And no more phone. So we're talking about a storm that is off to the north of Davenport, Iowa, getting close to the Illinois border at this point, with a tornado that has been sighted with that. Here is the DeWitt area where there's been a tornado reported there, and the chaser, one of the chasers we talked to, was heading north toward that area. I'll show you the velocities here. We'll continue to monitor the chaser, but I'll show you the velocity here. Very strong, going red, going northbound, green, going southbound. So that's a tornado vortex signature. And taking a look in that area, we now seem to have lost the debris signature at that location. So maybe it has either moved over something that is not picking up debris, or there's so much rain in the air that's wrapped around it that we're not seeing that. But definitely appears to be a dangerous tornado that's in progress in the DeWitt-Gambrill area, heading northeast toward generally the Clinton, Illinois area. Dave, Alex?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Forbes. I want to take you back to the state of Pennsylvania, where we've got a tornado warning off towards the north and northeast of the Pittsburgh area. This includes Butler County, or is for Butler County. You're looking at Pittsburgh, though, where, as you said, looks like nighttime, but it's just due to the heavy rain and storms that have been rolling through. Pittsburgh right now, the worst of it is east of you over towards New Kensington and Monroeville, but you're under a severe thunderstorm warning in Allegheny County, Washington, and Westmoreland counties. That includes Penn Hills, also Hempfield. This goes until 6:45. Now, Butler, you're under the tornado warning. Adams, Butler, and Lindora are the cities included within this one. Butler, you want to get to your safe spot around the Jefferson area as well. We've been watching this storm is moving quickly off towards the north and east. It is a radar indicated tornado, so no reports of an actual tornado on the ground, but don't go outside and look at it or look for it. It's been very heavy rainfall that you've seen, very poor visibilities. And as you know about Pittsburgh, there are hills in the area, there are trees, there are buildings. You could miss it. That tornado was moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Now we take you over to Cincinnati, Dave, where strong storms have been moving through.
Yeah, both the east side of Cincinnati and heading up to Dayton. Both of those spots, Hamilton County, at least where Cincinnati is, a severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. And there may be some hail right now in downtown Cincinnati. At the airport south of town, the wind is gusting over 40 miles per hour. So east of Dayton, east of Cincinnati, be prepared to take cover away from windows and exterior walls. All
right, Dr. Greg Forbes wants to take us back over to Pennsylvania. Give us some expert analysis on that warning.
Little rotating head, as you've described, a little comma shape to the bow echo coming across with damaging winds across western Pennsylvania. It's moving east of Pittsburgh now, across into Westmoreland County with damaging winds, severe thunderstorm warnings there east of Pittsburgh. But that little rotating comma head, like the punctuation mark, is rotating pretty strongly. And we'll take a look at that one. Here it is, tornado warning for Butler County up near the Saxonburg area, heading off to the east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour. I'll take a look at this one. Well, we'll track this one out. It's right around Saxonburg, heading up toward the Jefferson, the Katanning area. Katanning about 7 o'clock or 7:03 as it's moving off toward the east-northeast. Here's the high-definition radar. I've zoomed in enough that here's the basic squall line. And so the rotating comma head has detached itself. It's sort of just a swirling mass there. And if I show you the velocities on that, it has a rotation signature right near the Saxonburg area. Reds northeast, greens going southwest bound. I'll ask the radar how strong is that rotation signature. It's in the lowest mode, blues. It then goes to greens and yellows if it's stronger. So this is not as strong as the rotation signature that we've been seeing out in Iowa, but nevertheless it's a definitive signature there, and heading up toward the State Lick, the Worthington area, and ultimately toward Katanning, Pennsylvania. And a windy evening in western Pennsylvania. The storms are right now gaining a little bit of extra spin as they marched across the stationary front, but it's much cooler as these storms get into the mountains and into central Pennsylvania, where a wedge of cold air is in place. So I think that probably within a half hour or so, these storms will begin to weaken, and we probably will lose our tornado potential. But between now and then, you need to be seeking shelter. Dave and Alex?
All right, thank you, Dr. Forbes. Yeah, we're all over the place here. We've got severe thunderstorm watches and warnings all the way down into Texas and as far east as Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just got a video of some of that wind and lightning rolling through the Pittsburgh area, and it's been a wild scene in western Pennsylvania. Right now, we are looking north of Davenport, Iowa, with an overturned semi due to the winds. David Baxter is on the phone. David, you are manning this camera, and is this due to that tornado warned storm?
Yes, this is due to the tornado warned storm. I'm guessing that this is exactly where the tornado came across the highway right here. There's an overturned semi right here on the highway, and what I had to guess, this is probably right where the tornado path came across.
Can you see any other debris in the area? Any signs of a tornado?
Other than the overturned semi, I do not currently right now. I don't see any broken power lines or any broken limbs as of right now.
Can you give us an idea of what the scene's like? Is it a populated area? Is this just a highway stretched through a fairly rural area?
I mean, it's just outside the city, so I mean, there's a lot of traffic that goes to and from right here, but I would say right where we currently are, it's a little bit more rural outside of Davenport, but there's definitely a lot of cars that go through here.
Absolutely. All right, David Baxter, we're going to check back in with you. We have to take it to break, but still see plenty of lightning there north of Davenport, Iowa. Just one of the places that we are watching strong storms. Still have that tornado warning for Clinton and Scott counties. We'll be right back.
Reporters and storm chasers are on the road. Hannibal, Missouri, Davenport, Iowa, a report of a tornado perhaps north of there. Another one north of there where a semi is overturned, that darker, lower right picture. And in Pittsburgh, we just had some strong storms blow through, and a potential tornado northeast of Pittsburgh moving away from the Steel City. So it's an active day. We're following it on the road right here in the studio, and in the lab, of course, we've got severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes, world-class severe weather analyst and forecaster.
And we're going to send it out to him in just a moment. But right now, we want to check in with David Baxter, our NBC News correspondent, who's been chasing that through Iowa. David, can you give us an idea of more on what you're looking at? It looks like now a crowd has kind of amassed around this tractor trailer. Any word if the person's okay?
Yeah, the person is over. I can pan over for you guys. The person that was in the truck is over by the van over here. He does look like he's okay. My guess is that the tornado came right over across his overpass, right around here, and flipped his semi off the road here.
All right. You know, you mentioned that the area right now isn't super populated or super, you know, there's not a lot of businesses, there's not a lot of homes around, but you said it's very highly traveled. Has there been a lot of traffic? Have you noticed the traffic pick up?
Within the last few minutes, I have seen the traffic pick up just a little bit. But when we were coming up to the storm, there was kind of just, you know, on and off traffic. So this is a stretch of road that, I mean, it is fairly traveled, but at the current time, I mean, with just the semi being overturned, luckily I don't see any other cars that were involved with this either.
All right, thank you so much. You know, we're going to check back in with you. Right now, we want to get some more expert analysis on these storms from severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes.
Indeed, we have tornado warnings now in Michigan, in Maryland, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and over into Iowa. We're going to take you on a tour of some of those. The tornado warning that had been in this northern part of the Bo Echo, north of Pittsburgh, this rotating calm ahead, is now a severe thunderstorm warning as it's coming toward the Kittanning, Pennsylvania area. And severe thunderstorms with winds that have been measured at least 60 miles per hour have been gone through the Pittsburgh area. Slide it south, Sarah. We've lost that tornado warning. This storm is probably going to weaken. We do have a tornado warning that is farther down, an isolated thunderstorm, though, that's farther down the line, that Bo Echo going into the Mount Pleasant area, and a more isolated severe thunderstorm now down into the Garrett and Preston area. We're going from West Virginia into the far northwest portions of Maryland there, around the Mountain Lake Park area, the Oakland, the Swanton areas with a tornado warning. This one is an isolated supercell thunderstorm, the tornado on the south side of that. Let's move along then and get some additional tornado warnings. Up in parts of Michigan, we have tornado warning that is in southwest parts of Michigan there. This seems to be a circulation on the south end of a little line segment that is in the area just to the north and east of the Three Rivers area, Cologne, over into the Coldwater area of Michigan, Branch and St. Joseph counties. You have tornado warnings. And then the storm that has had the confirmed tornado with that is out in Iowa. It continues to be a danger as it heads toward the Clinton, Illinois area. Taking a look at that one, we're talking about extreme eastern Iowa getting over toward the Clinton, Illinois area with a tornado warning here for Clinton County that has had a tornado reported with that one coming into the area now, right toward in the Lowmore area toward the Clinton area. So the tracking of this one will be approximately coming up right about through there with a well-defined hook echo now that is showing up with the inflow notch coming in and the tracking up from Clinton up toward the northeast there, ideal, the Fairhaven area of clipping as it comes into the Illinois area. We have the camera on this storm on the left side with a chaser trying to get in vantage point to see if there is a tornado warning on this. Let us go to the Gibson Ridge. We are in the Gibson Ridge radar now, I guess, Sarah. Yeah, let's go to the Gibson Ridge radar, and we'll see that we have a very well-defined hook echo with this. Taking a look at the storm relative velocities on this, a very well-defined tornado signature is showing up into that hook echo area, heading up toward the Clinton area. See if we have any debris signatures showing up with that. Not at the moment. Storm is having a funnel cloud reported near the Clinton airport with this storm. So a very dangerous storm. Possibly it seems to have maybe gotten itself reorganized and could be giving a tornado again as it comes generally toward the Clinton area. So a dangerous storm. This is probably the most dangerous of all of the storms. Not to say that the other ones are not dangerous, but this is very close to a surface low. This has not only the wind changing with height that can allow the storm to rotate, but also the counterclockwise rotation about the surface low. It's what chasers often call near the triple point, where the warm front comes together with a cold front, the surface low is there, and so you get lots of sources of shifting winds there, as well as in the vertical, to allow these storms to rotate, and that is indeed what we're seeing. So at least 35, I think it is now, severe thunderstorm warnings in many areas, as you see additional severe thunderstorm warnings coming across Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Ohio, up into Wisconsin, then down along the cold front into the areas west of Peoria, north and west of St. Louis, down into parts of Arkansas as well as along a backdoor cold front. You've heard me talk about this storm moving into the frontal zone. Well, that front is oriented something like this, that it's cooler to the east of that. Some cool air is drained south of that. Brand new tornado warning now over into the areas north and west of the St. Louis area. Lincoln and St. Charles counties. Look how that storm has a well-defined hook echo on that, just to the south of Troy, heading toward Highway 61. That will be moving over toward the Brussels area as it moves from Missouri and crosses the Mississippi River over into Illinois. So right around now, the Lincoln and St. Charles counties, tornado warnings around the Moscow Mills, the Old Monroe, and the Troy areas, especially that circulation right in about here that's going to be coming toward the Winfield and Rosedale areas. So dangerous storm there. Sarah, can you click the velocity button on this one if you get a chance? I do not have this one set up in one of our windows for the Gibson Ridge at the moment. We're getting storms in so many different locations. This one, what we're seeing is a broad shift of velocities here, with the prevailing northerly winds toward the north, I should say, and then a gust front that is pushing its way east. Sarah, if you could now go back to the regular way we see this, there comes the gust front shifting east. And right along the leading edge of this storm is appears to be a gust front that maybe is pushed out ahead of that. The gust front may be out right along the area that I've circled there where the winds are coming in from the south. So dangerous storms in many locations. We've tried to go through here the ones that are most dangerous. At this point, we'll send it back to Dave and Alex in the studio. As you see there, a chaser's photo on the left.
Yeah, Dr. Forbes, things really lighting up across the country. We are looking at Mike Bettis's camera right now. He's on I-77 west of St. Louis, and we will be talking to him shortly. He's driving towards a tornado-warned storm. We've got one for Lincoln County and St. Charles County in Missouri. So we're heading into the St. Louis metro, and that's exactly the one that Bettis is looking at.
And you know, it's quiet in Chicago now, but we're going to have scenes like this in Chicago later on this evening, too. So we're going to get a great report from Mike. It looks like the worst of that storm is north of I-77 or off to the right, because he's heading west of St. Louis. And there you see it on the right. There's that storm, and I-77 is just below, well, just above the MO. Yeah. That is I-77. There's St. Louis in the lower right, and that's the storm moving to the west, moving east, northeast perhaps. So this would not affect St. Louis County or city, but St. Charles County is under the warning right now. And there you see a little inflection point, the lower left, just above the word Warrenton. That's where the tornado would be. It would move south of Troy and then head over toward Chain of Rocks out to the east.
And there's Winfield, it looks like, right in the path of that one. So if you're near this storm, if we've said your town's name, now is the time to act, react, get to your safe spot, get to that lowest level, most interior realm.
And these are very close to the cold front. So the threat is going to leave us in a couple of hours, but until that, we have to be extremely vigilant. Now, there's Mike Bettis. He's driving toward that storm that you see on the right. And Mike, what are you seeing off to the right of you?
Well, definitely darkening skies, Dave. We've been watching that storm pretty closely, and we were over in East St. Louis, decided we needed to get west of St. Louis and look at some of these storms. And we know that one is producing some really big hail right now. You look at it on the radar, and it's just exploded. So we know that we've got a big towering thunderstorm here, and we're watching potentially for that hook echo forming on that. So a couple of dangers there. A tornado, some strong winds, downdraft winds out of the storm, and some big-time hail that may be larger than golf ball size. So I look off to my north north and west. We're about 15, maybe 20 miles at most from that storm, so it won't be long before we intercept it. There is an issue, though, logistically for us. The Mississippi River is in between us and that storm, and so there'll be no bridge to go across the Mississippi River. So once we see that storm and it blows over the Mississippi River, we won't be able to follow it any longer. So we'll have to go all the way up to, say, Bowling Green or back to St. Louis to get back over the river to pursue it. But I think more storms will actually fire down south of that one. So our strategy may end up being then go back toward the St. Louis area and watch for more storms to line up south of the one that we're following that's around Troy right now. But that's a big, potent storm. You've got to take cover from that one right now.
So you're going to check this one out as close as you can get safely and then head back towards St. Louis for more storms developing south on that line, which will head east. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think that that's still a ripe atmosphere, Dave. We haven't really tapped, all the potential out of those storms farther, actually due west of St. Louis and then south and west from there. So I think there's still opportunities for that. I'm getting a clear view now of the storm, and maybe you can see it on our other camera that we have on our dash. We've got a pretty good rain shaft from that storm cloud in behind. I see some scud clouds there that might be kind of foolers. You don't necessarily get tornadoes from those kind of low-hanging clouds from a storm, but we're going to follow this one really, really closely. I'm not sure. See if I can check out on our other camera. It might be hard to see just because it's a little bit dark, but I've got a monitor in the back seat here that I can see our other camera pretty clearly, but I see a lot of low-hanging. Might have actually had a low rotating mesocyclone hanging from that storm itself, but a big-time hail coming out of that one as well, potentially a tornado.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Stay safe as you follow that one. Mike is heading west out of St. Louis. That's the storm that's headed through St. Charles County, north of St. Louis.
All right, we've got reports of a tornado on the ground in the state of Iowa. I want to head back out to severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes.
Yeah, as I thought what might be happening, that storm in eastern Iowa getting close to Illinois has indeed reorganized. Large tornado being sighted with that. Here's the big picture. We're talking about the Iowa storm there with a tornado right there about ready to cross into Illinois. We'll come down and look at the storm in eastern Missouri off to the north of St. Louis as well. We're close to Clinton, Iowa here with a tornado warning. That is, the storm is moving off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Carroll, Clinton, and Whiteside counties. Whiteside will be in Illinois as the storm has the tornado close to the Fulton area now, moving up toward the Clyde and the Colita areas as it goes northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the high-definition radar, and we'll show you the storm has really organized. There we go. The body of the storm is located about here. The reports of the tornado that we've seen off to the south and west of Clinton, and then the storm rotating into the hook with the inflow coming in from the south and east there. Taking a look at the velocities on this, you'll see that the very well-defined and this is the broad storm rotation motion, winds like this, and then where they touch, that's where the tornado is located. And if I ask, do we have debris? Yes, there are definitely some specks of debris that are showing up around there. I'm going to, in fact, showing up as a debris signature right at that location. I'll back it up a couple of time steps, and you can see that in these areas right in here, close to where the tornado is being reported, that is where the tornado has been showing up on radar that has moving off toward the north and east. So dangerous tornado in progress right near Clinton, heading up into the areas that will ultimately head up toward the area south of Thompson, toward Chadwick, toward the Milledgeville areas as it comes across into northern parts and northwest parts of Illinois. Can we move to the Missouri storm off to the north of St. Louis, going down the Mississippi River here? We'll see that there's a tornado-warned storm off to the north and west of St. Louis, north and east of Warrenton, with a very well-defined hook echo on that. Tornado warning for Lincoln and St. Charles counties. A few minutes ago, the storm was to the south of Troy. Now it has gotten a better hook echo on that. You can see the hook coming right in there, so it's heading toward the Winfield area. And this one has developed a very well-defined along Highway 47 between Troy and Winfield, a very well-defined hail spike on that one, a hail shaft on that. So I would guess we're going to have bigger than golf ball size, probably baseball size hail out of this storm, and it's heading toward the Winfield area about 6:09 as it heads off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. If we can go to the high definition radar on this one, you'll see that compared to last time we looked at this storm, it has really developed a hook echo, a little bit of a gust front showing up there, but the inflow comes in there, so the tornado likes to form right around the Moscow Mills area in this case. That will be where the strongest velocities are showing up. And now with a brand new scan coming in up around the Fountain and Lakes area and heading off toward the north and east. Let me see if this one is showing any debris signatures. There's been at least a funnel cloud sighted with this one. We're up on the edge, I believe, of the precipitation where the debris signature is harder to interpret. And so Wright City, Missouri is reporting a tornado. So in this area between Fountain Lakes and Moscow Mills, heading off toward the area toward Winfield is the location of a very likely tornado. So dangerous storms in progress. We have tornadoes, brand new warning in Washtenaw County, Michigan. We'll get a chance, and we'll show you some of these tornado warnings in Michigan as well. We continue to see the storm. Mike Bettis, I believe, chasing the storm toward the storm there that is tornado warned off to the north and west of St. Louis. Let's go back down to the studio.
All right, thank you, Dr. Forbes. We want to take you back to Iowa for that storm that we've got the confirmed tornado on the ground. This is moving towards the Clinton area, which has a population of about 26,000 people. So it'll eventually be moving over into the state of Illinois as well. That's just one of several tornado warnings that we have in effect right now.
And storm chaser David Baxter is on the way to that storm. You see those dark, ominous clouds. That is his camera mounted on his car, and he is on his way to have a look at this thing. This has produced severe weather. This is the one that has produced a tornado, and there have only been 3 or 4 thunderstorms that produced confirmed tornadoes today. You are looking at one of them. It is moving to the east through Clinton, Iowa, and then right across the Mississippi River into northwest Illinois. Now, in Chicago, we're fine. Rockford, okay. But thunderstorms are developing to the south and west of both of those cities, and you're going to be impacted. Plan on the power going out later on tonight, so have flashlights handy and an electric, maybe a battery-powered weather radio just to stay safe.
And David, you're on the phone. I'm looking at the National Weather Service chat, and they're reporting hail of nickel-sized, also wind damage from winds in excess of 50 miles an hour. Have you seen any signs of that?
Seen any hail or anything like that, but I did come across when I first came up to where the semi I came across that was overturned. As I was coming up there was west winds coming out of there. Probably in the 60-mile-an-hour range. It was really pushing the car as I was coming through that heavy rain.
And the area that you noticed that knocked over tractor trailer, that's south of where you are now. So you're moving northeast, tracking this south?
Yes, I'm heading towards the city of Clinton, where there was a report of a tornado from what I can see. I was back in the city of Gambrel, which is just north of Davenport, where I came across that overturned semi.
Okay, now as you move forward, getting a little closer, it's difficult for us to make out much on the camera. Are you able to see any signs of better organization with this storm, any signs of rotation? It looks like we can see the rain out ahead of you where the rain shaft reaches the ground.
Yeah, I do see a rain shaft that's directly ahead of me, that's due east of me. I mean, the backside of the storm does look aggressive, but I can't really see anything past this rain shaft as of right now. Maybe when I get closer to it, I can get you guys, or let you guys know.
And, you know, that's almost a wise piece of advice for anyone in this area. Don't go outside and try to look for this because there is quite a bit of rain as well. But some spotters have apparently been able to get a visual confirmation. So this is a reported tornado now. And that was located very close to Clinton. And we're going to keep this going into the state of Illinois. Do you have a way to get over into Illinois to continue to track this?
Yes, I'm going to find a river crossing, and I'll just keep tracking the storm as it heads east.
All right.
Thank you, David. We appreciate it, and we appreciate the video you cut and showed us from earlier in the day when the same storm caused this to happen. A semi-truck is heading down the highway, and then all of a sudden it's not. Right here in the island, in between both sides of the road, there's a semi lying on its side. Strong winds allegedly did this. Was there a tornado that caused this damage? Well, there's no other visible damage right here, according to David, but we know that strong winds, straight line or not, are probably the cause of this. Now, I want us to move on to Michigan, because there is a tornado warning right now for Ann Arbor, Michigan, and another one for Adrian, Michigan. Two different cells. They're both well to the west of Detroit, so you're fine now. But I just want to give you the heads up. Those are the newest tornado warnings we have right now. If you live in Ann Arbor, the timing on this thing is 7:30. A tornado may be in toward Ann Arbor at 7:30 this evening. Then we'll take it from there and see what's going on as it heads toward Detroit.
All right, we want to set the stage for you if you are just joining us. It's 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Central. These are the thunderstorm watches and the tornado watches that we currently have in effect. The yellow color, that's the severe thunderstorm watch. The red is a tornado watch, so they extend into parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, getting into Wisconsin, and along Lake Michigan. Now we head over towards the east. Severe thunderstorm watches in effect for parts of Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, even a little bit of western Maryland, where earlier we had a tornado warning. So we have a wide expanse under severe weather watches of some sort, whether they be severe thunderstorm watches or tornado watches, and we've got those warnings in play. We want to head out to the lab. Storm specialist Carl Parker joins us now with a look at some of these storms.
Yeah, we want to tell you about these storms that are now in southern Michigan and the tornado warnings that are off to the west of Detroit. The movement is generally off towards the east at 35, so these storms are going to be coming into Detroit. And there's a look at where the warnings are. A couple of rotating cells now off to the west of Detroit, and another one here in south central Michigan. Let's begin with the cells that are closer to Detroit, and two separate tornado warnings to tell you about right now. And one of those is just off to the west there in Ann Arbor. That's for Washtenaw County, and that includes the city of Ann Arbor and also Pittsfield. We'll time out the cell as it moves off towards the east and across the 94 corridor. And there you go. It's moving a little north of east. That's going to bring it into Manchester in a few minutes here. Actually, right about now, Lodi at around 7:18, 7:24 Ann Arbor, and 7:39 in Canton. And then we'll look at the cell that's off to the south, tornado warning in Lenawee County, and we'll go ahead and time that out for you as well, and take a look at where this thing is going to be headed. And again, the movement is a little north of east. That would bring it into Newburgh at about 7:20, Cambridge imminent there, and then Macon 7:26 and 7:35 in York. So we'll take a look at the high resolution radar first at the northernmost cell, and we'll look inside the circulation. So it's going to be on that southwest side of the circulation. See the little notch right there, a little ball showing up. So there's very clearly rotation there, and we'll look at the velocity, and we are seeing a strong rotational signature. It's a broad signature, but it is a strong one showing up. And we'll also take a look at whether or not there's any debris, and not seeing a lot of evidence. Certainly it's ambiguous there, but we're fairly far from the radar. We'll tell you that too. We're shooting fairly high up in the atmosphere, looking at about 3,000 feet up, but certainly we've got a very strong rotation in that cell. So that is generally off to the southwest and headed towards Ann Arbor. Then you've got the cell that's off to the south and west of that. Looking at the rotational signature, again, you've got a strong rotational signature. We'll see if there's any debris showing up. Not seeing that. And we do have one more cell to tell you about, and that is off to the west in south central Michigan. Tornado warning here for Branch County. That's going until 7:15, and we'll zoom in on that just a little bit and take a look at what's going on with that. And here too, we've got a pretty strong rotational signature showing up right there around Union City. Dave, Alex, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Carl. We leave you with a look at Mike Bettis's camera. He's outside of St. Louis, Missouri on Interstate 70, tracking a storm near Troy.
Here we are northwest of St. Louis. Troy, Missouri is the town, and just off to the east of it is a thunderstorm that may be producing a tornado.
Absolutely. Our own Mike Bettis is tracking this storm. He is out there watching for it. Mike, you guys have been on the road. Looks like you have stopped now. What kind of visuals are you getting of this storm? Are you seeing any kind of rotation or any signs of a funnel?
Yeah, I have not seen signs of rotation, Alex. We are now near the town of Winfield, north of St. Louis, right near the Mississippi River. We'll now look back to the east, and you can see the dark clouds that have formed here. Looking for any signs of rotation, we've actually seen, hail shafts, rain shafts, and very broad rotation. Nothing really that represents any type of lowering from the cloud base. You look, we've got some farmsteads mostly over here. You look back to the left here, that'll be a little bit more to the northeast. You can see we've got some rising motion in the clouds there. We do have some hail shafts. If you look almost directly to the east here, if you see any type of kind of wispy clouds, sort of what they look like, kind of hanging straight down, those would be hail shafts, a golf ball size hail potential with this storm. But as of right now, I mean, if you look even overhead, I'm looking overhead, the skies are clearing just a bit, but I think more storms will end up forming in behind this, but a pretty ominous sight as this moves off into western Illinois. I think more storms are going to form on a line that ends up forming now south of this and then west of St. Louis, and then that whole system driving now through the St. Louis metro area. So we'll be getting hit hard with individual storms along that cold front, guys, but as of right now, that storm that has been tornado warned, I see nothing at the moment that indicates to me there's a tornado within there. There could be off in this dark area here, can't really see because there could be something in there that's rain wrapped as we're now in behind that storm. We're in a safe position to be in back behind that storm, but as of right now, I do see some hail shafts out there, so we're going to watch for that. Make sure you've got the car in the garage, or it's getting dented, that's for sure. But keeping a close eye on this one, and more storms that may end up forming along this cold front.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike Bettis, and can see that standing water in that field behind you. And speaking of hail, our David Baxter is in Missouri, near Clinton, Missouri, where he has just been getting, or Clinton, Iowa, excuse me, he has been getting slammed with hail. David, can you hear us over the hail?
Yes, I can hear you.
At what size of hail are you seeing?
It was ranging anywhere from about nickel to quarter size that I was just getting into.
So you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, and it looks like that tornado warning has now moved off towards your north and east. So you're back on the southwest side of that area?
Yes, that's correct.
And has traffic been pulling over? Is it causing problems on the roadways due to visibility? It looks tough to see.
No, most of the traffic just slowed down. It's a good thing to do. I haven't really seen anybody pull off the side of the road with the hailstorm that just came through. Just a lot of people took it slow, which is actually a good thing when you have that happen.
Absolutely. It looks like a really heavy rainfall and hail. What about gusty winds? Have you noticed any of those move through with this storm?
Yeah, I would say they're pretty gusty, anywhere around 40 miles an hour. So nothing really severe as of right now that I've felt in my car.
And have you seen any signs of debris from any of that strong winds? I'm seeing some reports out of the area of downed power lines or other wind damage or just strong wind reports. Have you seen any debris being blown across the road?
I have not right now. I was actually going to come through Clinton and see if there was any tornado debris from earlier when they were under the tornado warning.
All right, and what's your plan now moving forward? You're going to check out Clinton and see if they have any tornado debris. Then where are you headed?
I'm going to keep trying to keep up with the storm that has the tornado warning that's north of me up to the northeast.
All right, David Baxter, Storm Chaser, we're going to continue to track your progress and what you're looking at. And coming up next, we're actually going to take you to Chicago, Illinois, where our own Reynolds Wolf is tracking the severe threat for that city tonight.
Straight to me, I start.
See what I got on here?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Mike Bettis coming to you live from near St. Charles, Missouri. We've been following some storms that have been blasting along a cold front, some pretty strong storms, severe thunderstorm warned. A lot of these storms producing some big hail, maybe some brief tornadoes. We are heading actually a little bit now south of St. Charles. We're working our way west of St. Louis, and we'll be following storms that'll be lining up along a cold front. Once these storms clear us in St. Louis, we'll be good, but until then, you really need to pay close attention to these storms and what they're producing, and especially some strong straight line winds potential with some of these storms that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour and potentially knock out power. So a lot to consider with these storms. It's Missouri, it's most of the Midwest, and then extending down through the Mid-South and all the way to the Gulf Coast with this very strong storm, very classic springtime setup with a lot of storms here that are producing large wind gusts. I think one of the big primary threats, especially right along the cold front. So if you live in a mobile home, it's not a safe place for you to be. If you've got a friend or a neighbor or a family member that you can go to ahead of these storms and be sheltered
sheltered in a very sturdy frame-built home, that's a better spot for you to be, because some of these strong wind gusts may be enough to roll a mobile home. So just be aware of that. It wouldn't be a great idea to be out traveling on the roadways too, especially with some of the big hailers that could be coming our way. It won't end for you in St. Louis till probably after the sun sets, and then the storm's pushing east. Illinois is a target, so let's head you there to Chicago and check in with meteorologist Reynolds Wolf. Reynolds, what's the latest there in the Chicago Metroland?
Well, the latest we have right now from this exact spot, Mike, right along parts of 294, the toll road, is a little bit of the past, the present, and the future with regard to the severe weather situation. Let's deal with the past first. As we venture off to my left, which is up towards the north, we see some clouds up there, the shooting tops. That is going to become part of the past because that is going to move over parts of Lake Michigan. The present, if you look over in my direction, you see right over here, this happens to be on the other side of that parking deck. That is O'Hare Airport, where we have 735 cancellations already, and we had to wait delays up to 90 minutes. Now let's deal with the future. The future, we take a gander back out towards the west, and we see a lot of cloud development, a lot of showers that are going to be on the way. And to give us a better idea of what we can expect with that cloud cover, with all that moisture, all that instability that's moving this direction, we're going to switch over to the best man in the business, and that is Dr. Greg Forbes. Let's send it back to Dr. Forbes in the severe weather set.
Thanks, Reynolds. And what's coming toward Chicago at this point is kind of spotty, so whether or not you actually get hit remains to be seen. Certainly the strongest of the storms has a tornado warning that's off to your west. Now that one should go north and west of the Chicago area. Probably around 9 or 10 o'clock we'll have additional coverage and chances of storms coming into Chicago. There's Chicago, so there are some showers around there, but the biggest storm, a supercell thunderstorm with a possible tornado on its southwest side, just to the south of Rockford, Illinois, heading up toward the Belvedere, Illinois area, the bonus areas. We're talking about a possibility of a tornado there. We're talking down on the southwest side here of the storm with a possible tornado there. I'll show you the velocity signature on that one that shows up right around the area south of New Milford, as I talked about. Not an intensely strong rotation at this point, but some suggestion there that we may be seeing a little bit of loft of a rotation there. Let's go along then, Sarah, and take a look at the storm farther to the northwest. This storm has come out of Iowa. It's had a history of producing tornadoes. Now it is up into Illinois total. We're talking about Carroll County in Illinois. It's gotten to have a very complex structure, but still some rotation right in around that location. A tornado possibly right up coming toward the area around the Brookville, the Leaf River area, with a possibility of a tornado there. Let's go to the high definition radar, Sarah, and we'll see that tornado likely to be pushing here off to the north and east of Milledgeville, heading northeast. Stay safe.
Another major severe weather day from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is under a severe thunderstorm warning now for the airport and the mid-cities. Over to East Texas and northwestern Louisiana, a tornado watch until 10 o'clock. Little Rock is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Also, St. Charles County, north side of St. Louis, a severe thunderstorm warning, no longer a tornado warning. That's good news. But northern Illinois, western Illinois, tornado watches are in effect, all the way back to Pittsburgh, where we've had some rough weather and numerous reports of damage. 129 so far at the Storm Prediction Center. Most of those were wind and hail. And look at some of the wind damage that has occurred today.
Absolutely. Dr. Forbes has given some of these areas torcons of 6, and we have seen at least wind damage, perhaps from a tornado. This was north of Davenport, Iowa. One of the storm chasers that we've been talking to throughout the afternoon caught this video of this turned over or rolled over semi-tractor trailer on the highway north of Davenport. So at least wind damage. We'll have to see if a tornado did in fact roll through this area. There was a tornado warning in effect, including for the town of Clinton. He was heading that way to check on that area. That's just one of many areas that we've been watching today. Welcome back to our special extended coverage of this multi-day severe weather outbreak. I'm Alex Wilson here with Dave Schwartz.
And the tornado warning has been canceled from that storm that hit Clinton and that overturned that semi. But Rockford, Illinois is under a tornado warning right now. Let's get into the lab. Carl Parker is our storm specialist. He's got the latest.
Dave, we want to tell you about these storms in southern Michigan near the warm front. They are moving to the east and northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. And there is a tornado warning now west of Detroit. Let's take a look at that on the radar picture. And that's coming towards Ann Arbor. There are actually a couple of cells that we're watching. The southernmost cell not being warned on right now. It's just getting into the other tornado warning. And this is for Washtenaw County. That includes Ann Arbor. I want to show you the high resolution radar and show you that there are actually multiple circulations with this particular area. So this first circulation now is up here near Ann Arbor, and it's really broad right now, and it's not very strong at this time. But then we saw a little surge of cooler air coming around the underside of that, and along this flanking line of new storms, there's another circulation right in there. But the strongest circulation right now is with this cell that had been warned on to the south, and it's now getting into the other tornado warning. So this is just south of Route 12. Pretty pronounced circulation right there, rotational couplet there. And as we interrogate this and take a look for debris, we're not seeing any evidence of debris. But on the southwest side of that cell, again, south of Route 12, that is moving a little north of east at about 40 miles per hour. Now I want to take you down into North Carolina and show you there are warnings here in the Raleigh metro. Could be 1-inch hail coming right into downtown Raleigh. That's a warning for Chatham, Harnett, and Wake counties going until 8:15. The movement here is east at about 30 miles per hour. And then well off to the west of that, we've got a whole string of storms and now tornado warning. We've been watching this in the Shreveport metro, looking at this thinking they probably would issue a tornado warning. And in fact, there is now one for Cherokee and Smith counties. Let's go ahead and time that out, Sean. This is right at Route 69. And it's going to be moving to the north of Jacksonville and getting very close to the state line there. This is going until 7:30. And so here is the timing. It's basically moving to the east, should be getting towards Mixon in short order. Next couple of minutes, Blackjack at 6:41, and then getting over to Pone at 6:56. And we'll take a look at the high resolution radar with this particular storm. And what we're seeing here is just a really pronounced rotational signature. I'll zoom in a little bit, and right in there, where you see that sort of a bluish color that is going toward the radar right in here, and then the reddish color that's going away from the radar, that is the rotation right there. And now we'll look and see if there's any debris, and maybe some hint of that, but it does look more or less ambiguous. But you do see that ball there showing up. That's where you've got the rotation within the storm. The tornado likes to sit right in there near that little inflow notch, and so that is now south of Bullard, north of Jacksonville, and generally moving again towards the east. And tornado warning in effect here in eastern parts of Texas and on the way for Louisiana. That's for Cherokee and Smith counties in northeastern Texas. Dave, Alex, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Carl. Well, we have continued to watch these storms all the way, as Carl said, from Texas up into the state of Pennsylvania. We've got some severe warnings around western West Virginia as well, into Cabell County, so the Huntington area watching for strong storms as well. And we've got a bunch of chasers out there working with us. They're providing us with great video. And, of course, we've got our own field crews out there. We've got Reynolds Wolf in Chicago. Mike Bettis has been watching storms as well. So,
so you got the whole, you got the full Monty right here. David Baxter is one of the chasers who is on this, and he's driving through Clinton, where a tornado may have gotten very close. The storm has moved away. Dave, what are you finding now?
I'm just driving through Clinton currently right now. I do see like a lot of dirt and twigs that have been washed away with like a lot of heavy rain that came through. I'm not seeing any signs of tornado damage. I've seen some lawn chairs and some buckets thrown into some yards and whatnot, but I have not seen any, true tornado damage of a touchdown. But there was a report of one in this area.
Yeah, I'm looking at our just internal email and seeing that there was maybe a video that we're hoping to get up and be able to show people. Was Interstate 30 or US 30 what you were traveling on, where you saw the overturned semi?
No, that was the route that was coming from Davenport. I believe that was 60 north or 61 north, going north from Davenport.
And do you know where right US 30 would be in comparison to where you were?
I'm sorry?
US 30, do you know where that would be in relation to where you were, where you saw the damage?
That would be to the north and east of where the overturned truck was.
Okay. All right, we'll hope to get you the video. What about now? It looks like a much calmer scene than the last time we talked to you, where you had the heavy rain and the hail. Actually seeing some sunshine.
Yeah, it's actually starting to clear out. There's a lot of ponding water on the roads. Actually, some of the sides of the roads are a little bit flooded. So you just want to watch out for any standing water and things like that.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, David. We're going to continue to track your progress and check in with you on what you're finding. Right now, we want to send it back to the lab with Dr. Greg Forbes.
Yeah, tornado warning for Rockford, Illinois, and there's been a sighting. Is that right, Greg?
Yeah, there's been a funnel cloud with that and a brand new tornado warning for the storm just southwest of that. So let's take a look. Here's the big picture. Chicago, you have most of the action off to your west, but it's beginning to pick up in intensity up toward Elgin, up toward the airport. But Rockford, tornado warning there, Boone and Winnebago counties. There has been a funnel cloud sighted near the Rockford airport. And that storm is heading off toward the north and east. The tornado will be on the southwest side of that, coming up toward Cherry Valley and the Belvedere area. Let's take a look here. I have shown you on my high-resolution radar that we have one storm, the one with a funnel cloud. The one actually to the south and west of that has a better hook on that. That's a brand new tornado warning. I'll first start with the storm that's up near the Rockford area. The funnel cloud was near the New Milford area there. The tornado now is heading off to the north and east toward the Cherry Valley area. While I'm on the Gibson Ridge, I'll slide down then to the next storm down. That's down near the Franklin Grove area. You can obviously see how the storm is rotating with the inflow coming in. We'll take a look at the velocities on this one. And this one has such an intense velocity on it that we're dropping out. So this is a dangerous signature here. There may be a tornado in progress in there, and the radar is unable to depict that because it's seeing one side of the beam has one velocity, the other direction. We're seeing in the debris signature a huge area here of these blues that I talk about as the possibility of debris. So let me go back one more time. There's the dropout. I'm going to step up one altitude in the vertical and get away maybe from a little bit of a noise. So I'm just a little bit higher up in the radar. You see very strong eastbound, very strong westbound. Tornado looks to be very likely in progress over the Franklin Grove area, heading up toward Ashton and the Rochelle areas. That is Boone and Winnebago counties, Lee and Ogle counties in Illinois. Let's go back now to the studio.
All right, Dr. Forbes, thank you so much. I want to take you back out to the Chicago area where our own Reynolds Wolf is watching and waiting for those storms approach. We will check in with him next. All right, thanks for staying with us. We are looking live near Sterling, Illinois, getting a look up towards a tornado-warned storm working towards Rochelle, Illinois. Let's head out for some expert analysis with storm specialist Carl Parker.
All right, this is east of Sterling in Illinois. You are looking at a live tornado on the ground there, and you see that white funnel, and just above that what is called the collar cloud, and then above that the larger circulation, the wall cloud, mesocyclone there, as they are driving along with this very dangerous storm. I want to bring in our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. And Dr. Greg, that's what you would call a front-lit tornado when you see a sort of whitish appearance like that.
Indeed it is, and you can see there's a little bit of a shadow on the windshield there, but just on the right side of the shadow, you can see the tornado right down to the ground there. So this is the southern of two tornado-warned storms in Illinois, northern Illinois. Both of them now have tornadoes with those. So the northern storm, there's been a tornado sighted the Sterling Valley, Cherry Valley area, and up into Boone and Winnebago counties, north and east of the Rockford area. The southern of the two warned storm is the one that we're seeing pictures of at the moment. So Sarah, let's advance here, move along with this. We'll take a look at the northern storm first. There's been a tornado with this one. Tornado now heading toward the Belvedere area and then toward the Dunham area and sliding. There's been the tornado report there on the northern of the storms. As you continue to watch the southern of the storms on your left side of your screen, then we'll slide down to the second southern storm, Sarah, and take a look at that one. Lee and Ogle counties, you can see how this storm has an even better hook echo. There has been, and that is the storm that we're seeing in the chaser video. In the hook echo there off to the west of the Rochelle area is where we have the tornado. So right now it's very close to the Ashton area, and then heading up toward Flag, toward Rochelle, and toward the South Grove area. We'll go just slightly to the north of DeKalb, Illinois. region. Let's go to the high definition radar, Sarah, and this one is showing very well-defined hook echo to that right in about there. It's also producing large hail, probably baseball size up in that white core. Tornado will be in this area just to the northeast of Franklin Grove right now. Very strong velocities. And so strong that, in fact, we're having trouble getting the absolute velocity because it's seeing a tornado right in the middle of that. Let me take a look and see what kind of debris signatures we're showing there. Definitely showing some signs of debris. With that, you're seeing the tornado in progress and going back again to the velocities. So complex, and the beam is seeing the tornado within the beam, so that it's getting both sides. So that's why you're getting a little bit of ambiguous appearance in this velocity signature. But tornado sitting right inside this notch here, heading toward the Hillcrest area, the Rochelle area of Illinois. So dangerous tornado in progress, and you are watching that in the area just to the west of Rochelle, heading off toward the north and east across Lee and Ogle counties, as well as a tornado that's north and east of Rockford in the Illinois area. Additional tornado warnings. Are we going to go to Carl here and take a look at Carl? These storms are out ahead of a cold front in the area close to a surface low that is giving some extra spin to the atmosphere, as well as the strong winds, low-level jet coming in. Some of your storms, the ones up near Detroit, are on a warm front. So tornado warnings up there as well.
And we're going to get into that in just a second. If you are just joining us, this is live coverage. You're looking at a live picture from a storm chaser. Picture breaking up a little bit, as it can be expected when people are driving along. But he is riding alongside of a tornado. A little difficult to see because of the glare in the windshield right now. But we're going to keep our eyes on this. He's doing his best to catch up to that tornado. And we very clearly saw a tornado moments ago there coming across northern Illinois. Let's take a look at some of the other warnings that are ongoing. There's still now a tornado warning in far east Texas, and that's getting ready to come into Louisiana. So you see the string of storms lining up from south of Dallas and along 45. And here is the tornado warning that is for Cherokee and Smith counties. So the area that we're watching is that little ball there on the southwest side of the circulation that's coming now right into Troop as we speak. So heads up there in Troop, time to take cover immediately, and we'll drop on in and take a look at the street level mapping. And so the tornado likes to sit in that little notch right in there, so that could be coming right across 135 and 110 right now, and eventually heading towards FM 13E. Very strong rotational signature. So right in here, this is where you've got large and extremely dangerous tornado on the ground there reported with this storm, and again a very strong rotational signature showing up on the radar. We'll time this out, and that is coming into Troop right now. Going to be getting over into Price at 726, 726 into Turnertown, and 751 into Henderson. And let's go ahead and take a look at the high resolution radar, Sean, and see what's going on with this. We'll interrogate this a little bit. And again, got a very strong rotational signature. See that there where you see the bright color? Here again is where the wind and the rain is coming towards the radar and where it's moving away from the radar. So you've got a very strong rotation there. We can look and see if there's any debris, and we're not seeing any evidence of debris, but nonetheless a very dangerous storm. And again, we got a report of a large tornado on the ground with that particular cell, and that is moving towards that Texas and Louisiana state line. Now, I do want to take you up into Michigan to show you what's happening there. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. We are still seeing some circulation in these storms, but it's not as robust as it once was. So there are not warnings on these cells as they're coming down 94 and towards 275. They'll eventually come right into Detroit, and certainly there could be very gusty wind with these storms, but again, there are not warnings right now. We'll take a look at the high resolution radar and see what's going on there. And you'll notice that there is still circulation in a couple of these cells. So I'm going to outline that for you. Circulation there that is now just west, and in fact a fairly decent circulation just west of Cherry Hill, and then another one showing up here just west of Whitaker. But at least right now the National Weather Service not seeing enough rotation to warrant issuing a tornado warning, and we'll just continue to keep our eyes on these cells as they move east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. All right, let's let's get back to the stronger storms now in Illinois. Dr. Greg, what's the rotation look like now?
Still storms, two of them that have well-defined rotations. They both have had tornadoes with that. You see one that is off now to the north and east of Rockford. Hold this for just a second, Sarah, so I can set the big picture. The other that is down in the area farther to the south of Rockford. Chicago, for the moment, you're clear. There are storms out toward the airport and out around Aurora. The cold front is out in here. So ultimately, this cold front will come probably around 9 o'clock or 9:30 into the Chicago area. But for the moment, the storms are off to your north and west and rolling north and westward. So let's take a look at the southern of the storms here. We have a tornado warning. In fact, probably now a debris ball that is showing up here in the area off to the west of Rochelle, with Lee and Ogle counties having a tornado warning there. There's been a tornado warning, a tornado spotted, and power flashes around the Ashton area. As you see, well-defined hook echo that is wrapping around, possibly a tornado signature. We'll go to the high-definition radar in a minute and take a look at that. The location of the tornado near the East Flag area and just to the east of the South Channa Road area, heading up toward the South Kings Road area. There is the velocity signature showing up, and some indication there on this portrayal of a debris signature that's showing up, generally heading up toward the South Kings Road area and Highway 64, going to be heading up toward Linville there along Interstate 39. Linville, Flag Center, Linville, Esmond, Kirkland, you have tornado warnings for the tornado that is in progress, appears to be in progress and moving your way. Let's go to the high-definition radar, Sarah, if we can. We'll take a look at that one. That's on 19. And so I've been suggesting this could be a debris ball. There's the main body of the storm. The hook echo wraps around. The inflow comes in. The whole storm rotating. Let us take a look and investigate a little bit further. Certainly, there we go. Certainly right where I drew the debris ball, that is where the tornado vortex signature is. You see the reds inbound, the greens going westbound. And let's say if we have debris showing up in our dual pole, we sure do. So tornado, I would say, almost assuredly in progress here in the area. This location at this time, this is about 2 minutes ago in the most recent scan.
Spotter reporting damage there, Dr. Forbes, near Ashton.
Spotter reporting damage near Ashton. It's moved on right at this time. About 2 minutes ago, it's located about 5.5 miles west-southwest of Hillcrest. So that would mean probably now it's about 2 miles west of Hillcrest and moving up into the area that will go toward the Hillcrest and the Esmond area. So dangerous storm with a debris ball with a tornado debris signature, well-defined rotation with that. Here is the rotation. If we ask how intense that is, it's maybe getting a little bit disrupted, but strong tornado moving across the counties. What are the county names on this one? I'll get that one again. That is parts of Lee and Ogle counties in Illinois. Let's go up to the storm to the north then. The Rockford storm also has had a tornado with that one. It does not quite have the well-defined hook echo, but it has gotten better defined as we've gone along. It's gone, instead of this big elongated storm, it's begun to get more of this appendage out the south flank. It had a tornado in the Cherry Valley area that was back right about in here, and it's continued off toward the north and east in across a tornado warning for Boone County, with a tornado right around in that location, going to go just to the south of Chemung. And so Sarah is going to track this one for us right now, right around the Belvedere area of Illinois. That is a location that in the past has had a tornado up toward the Dunham and the Harvard areas of Illinois. Let's go to the high-definition radar, Sarah, and I'll take a quick look at this one in terms of its structure. There it is with the tornado right down in that southwest area. In fact, you even can see a little bit of a minimum in the return there. And if I take a look at the velocities on this one, that's where you'll see the very, very strong rotation. Reds northbound, the greens southbound. Let's have a look at this one, see if we have a debris signature there. A little bit of a lowering. That green spot there, not the reds and purples that are indicative of rain. So certainly a possibility there that is what we're seeing. That little lighter donut hole surrounded by a light shroud of rain, maybe slightly rain mapped. If you're looking at this, you may see that it's a little fuzzy looking, or maybe hard to be absolutely sure that you're seeing a tornado. That's because this little light rain curtain has wrapped around that, but a tornado that is just near the Belvedere area, heading up toward Harvard, Illinois, off toward the north and east. You're seeing at the left, I'll go to Carl. Maybe Carl, they've been in your ear and told you what the camera is on the left part of your picture there.
Yeah, we are actually looking at Chicago right there. We want to get out live right now to Reynolds Wolf, who is in Chicago. And Reynolds, that is a mean-looking sky right there.
It certainly is. What's interesting, Carl, is that we've had over 735 cancellations of flights at O'Hare, which is just off to our north. And you saw that large jet taking off with a hard bank to the south and southeast. You can see the reason what they're trying to avoid, that massive cloud that's developing farther back out to our west, all of that rolling in this direction. What's interesting, Carl, is we have seen from this morning fog with drizzle and 40-something degrees to temperatures in the 60s. We had clear skies, had a little bit of everything today, and now we're seeing this stage, and that is the instability, quite a bit of it too. If we journey over a little bit more to the north, you'll see that we have a little bit of a window that's popping up, a little more settled air, but on either side, you've got, again, everything lifting up. Very interesting. A little touch of a Mattis high above, and then if we venture even over a bit more to our north, over towards the airport, the horizon, it's all dark. Not only is it all dark, you can just imagine where that heavy rain is coming down on the other side of the airport. And then farther up to the north, we have got skies clearing out over parts of Lake Michigan. So really kind of a kaleidoscope of weather scenario that we've been dealing with just now. Guys, if you can give us a little bit more of a heads up, what do you think we can expect a bit more for this area out in parts of western Chicago, out towards the airport? Because it looks like much of the action is still over towards Rockford. We had 2 of those tornado warnings, which I imagine if they're about to expire or already have expired.
All right, Reynolds, thank you so much. And let's take a look at what's going on in the Midwest right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Detroit and also for Toledo, Ohio. These cells are racing off to the northeast about 45 miles per hour. And right now, the concern is 60-mile-per-hour wind. They're coming into Wayne County, Washtenaw County, and that's going until 8:45. I do want to show you the timing of all this. It's going to be getting into Taylor at about 18 minutes after the hour. We'll move it ahead just a little bit. Dearborn Heights at 12 minutes after the hour, Dearborn at 8:23, and then downtown Detroit at 8:36. And primarily what we've got here is a threat for damaging wind, but we will look here at the high-resolution radar, and I can tell you that there have been circulations in this line, and in fact, as we look, there are still little circulations that are showing up. One right in here, one right in here, one right in here. So it certainly is possible that we could see a spin up within this line. Now, off to the south of that, there's another warning in effect in Toledo. We'll zoom on down there and take a look at that. That's right along Interstate 75. These cells now moving off towards the northeast once again at about 40 miles per hour. Damaging wind, the threat there in Toledo. Much more coming right up. Welcome back to the Weather Channel's live coverage of severe weather across much of the middle of the country, parts of the east. You are looking at a live tornado. This is east of Sterling, Illinois. Very strong rotation and debris being seen with this circulation for some time now. And there off to the left-hand side of your screen, that is a large tornado, large cone-shaped tornado. I want to bring in our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. And Dr. Greg, that is one mean storm right there.
One massive tornado there with a big wall cloud above that, and then higher up in the picture there, you're seeing the rest of the storm there.
So again, we are looking at a large tornado, very strong tornado there east of Sterling, and just above that you see there what's called a collar cloud wrapping around wall cloud above the storm there. But this is a large and dangerous tornado, and again, we have seen debris on radar, so we know that at least some foliage has been hit, if not actually structures. Chaser, following this live right now, notice that large cone shape there, almost but not quite perhaps a wedge tornado, but certainly a very dangerous storm. And this is live now in progress east of Sterling in in Illinois. And we want to bring in Dr. Greg once again. And Dr. Greg, that is certainly one of the worst that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, this is a massive cone or perhaps even wedge tornado. Wedge tornado is wider than it is tall, and I think this would characterize that. And just above that, a layer that is the wall cloud that is in itself impressive, and then above that, the prevailing cloud base. So dangerous tornado there. This is in the area right now near Kings. And heading toward the Esmond area, probably just south of Lindenwood, and then ultimately toward Kirkland and Kingston there in Illinois. It's the southern of two storms, both of which have tornadoes on that. Right here, you see what I have been describing as a debris ball. That is coming very close now to Highway Interstate 39. That will be up in the area north of Esmond in the Linville area with debris showing up here. That is the tornado. The tornado is so wide, and probably some of that wall cloud that I described is also showing up at the altitude of the radar. It's coming up right now. It is near the intersection of Highway 61 and just north of Highway 64 and 251, going to be heading toward the Linville area right along I-39, and then ultimately will come off toward near I-39 and East Lindenwood Road. So dangerous, large tornado as you're seeing there at the left, in progress and heading northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour across this area in northern Illinois. There's also a tornado in northern parts of Illinois, farther to the north, that has had sightings with that at times. That is up heading toward the Harvard, Illinois area that has come out of the area around Belvedere and had a tornado around Cherry Valley and then back in the area south of Rockford. But a massive, the chaser here, Carl, has gotten closer to the tornado, and you can see what a big wedge tornado this is. Yeah. Massive tornado. This is the kind of thing that we told you today. There could be a large, long-lived and perhaps strong tornado. If we were going to be talking about it, this would probably be the picture that we would be showing you of one of these large, perhaps long-lived and perhaps dangerous, destructive, strong tornadoes.
Now, Dr. Greg, these things are moving right along today, and as chasers do, he's been approaching the storm from the south on a north-south road. He was moving right along for a while there, but he has, as chasers also do, stopped because the storm is likely going to cross the road just off to his north. And as you mentioned, this is certainly a very dangerous storm. It's also a little bit front-lit here. Oftentimes tornadoes are backlit, and so they have more of a blackish appearance, but the light is actually at his back, coming from his back, so that's why it's got more of a whitish appearance. So you're looking at the cloud there. That's the white part is the cloud, and then at the base sometimes you see some dust coming around, but now we're getting a much clearer picture. And folks, this is live. This is not tape. You were looking at a live tornado there near Rochelle, Illinois, and a very large wedge-shaped tornado now moving off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Dr. Greg, just an incredible sight there, and we can only hope that there aren't very many people in the way of this thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, and we know that this is heading toward I-39, so you can, in fact, can see the interstate right there. So let's hope that the traffic, the southbound traffic there is still going. You see there a couple of tractor trailers coming southbound, so you hope at some point that the state police will be stopping the traffic. Otherwise, you could have some people that are driving right into this. Off to the right of the big wedge tornado, you see darker skies, and you can see some of these brighter skies off to the left. So this is at the rain-free and then lowered rain-based type interface. We talk about the interface of a downdraft and the updraft, where these big wall clouds and these big wedge supercell tornadoes form, and this is about as classic a view of that as we get, Carl.
You know, and I'm always amazed, you know, unless these people are storm chasers, and that's possible, but I'm always amazed when I see traffic going and there's a tornado in progress. You'd think that people would want to stop. I mean, if they're going away from it, that's a different story. Okay, now that it's getting closer to the road, now he's going to begin to come up from the south. So that's what he's wanted to do. He's wanted to slow down to get a sense of which way it was going. And now that he knows for sure that it's going to pass off to his north, he's going to try to go ahead and catch up to it. Actually, it looks like he might be getting off here, perhaps to get up to a better vantage point to get a little bit of elevation. Look at the truck, though, that is just powering full steam ahead right up towards that tornado. That is remarkable. Very strong tornado now near Rochelle, Illinois. And Dr. Greg, we've seen a lot of debris showing up on the radar, unfortunately.
Yeah, we really have. Brand new tornado warning for Macoupin and Montgomery counties in Illinois as well. I'm not sure. Let me see if that is the same storm. That's a
new one south of Springfield.
Yet a new storm that's south of Springfield, Illinois, that also has tornado warning on that. So 3 tornado warnings now in Illinois. The one with by far the strongest circulation that we're seeing and a big debris ball on radar is the one that you're seeing the chasers following. It is getting just about ready to cross the interstate now. It is just to the south of the Lindenwood, or very close to Lindenwood, Illinois, as we have a tornado warning in effect for parts of DeKalb, Boone, Ogle, and Winnebago counties in north central Illinois. Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado near Hillcrest, moving just northwest of Rochelle and northeast at 45 miles per hour. So a life-threatening situation here for people in the path of this. Right now near the Lindenwood area, it will probably go near and just slightly to the south and east of Monroe Center, just to the west of Kirkland, Illinois, as it heads off toward the northeast. Very large and dangerous tornado. You're seeing it live as the chasers are moving with that to keep you and keep us able to see the tornado.
Dr. Forbes, they've also just warned to the storm to the west. There's a circulation west of this large tornado that they just warned on. Let me get the county.
Yeah, I can get the county.
Boone and
just a brand new warning for
Ogle.
Boone, Ogle, and Winnebago, as well as additional tornado warnings in additional states that are popping up. This area of Illinois, especially northwest Illinois, and earlier I'd said southeast parts of Iowa were the area today that I gave the tornado condition index of 6. That was largely because this area was close to the surface low, had instability and that extra rotation near the surface low, and unfortunately we're seeing that those ingredients are indeed materializing as we have 3 tornado warned storms now in that northwest portion of Illinois.
All right, if you are just joining us now, we have been watching a live tornado, watching a live storm chaser coverage there near Rochelle in Illinois, and we saw a massive wedge-shaped tornado just moments ago. So what he is doing now is he is tracking east. He got up as close as he wanted to get while driving north. The storm passed across the road. Now he is tracking east, and he'll turn north again to try to intercept that tornado once again. Now, we do want to tell you about some other tornado warnings. In fact, there is one right now for Toledo, Ohio, and let's go ahead and take a look at that on Max 6 while we continue to watch the storm chaser moving forward there. And this is now coming right up to the 80 corridor and moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So a tornado warning right now in effect for the Toledo Metro, and that cell is coming right towards downtown Toledo. Don't know if we can take a look at the radar view of that. Okay, there we go. And let's zoom on into that, Sean, and see what's going on with this storm. So we're seeing pretty strong rotation with this cell, and we'll track that out. That's coming now right across the south side of the Toledo Metro. That is a tornado warning for Lucas and Wood counties. That includes Maumee, Oregon, and Perrysburg. And Sean, let's go ahead and track out that circulation there. Very close to Waterville right now, and coming very close to 75 as well. There are actually a couple of circulations, but the stronger one is on the southwest side near Waterville, and that is now moving off to the east-northeast. That's going to take it into Dowling at about 8:16 and Latch at about 8:27. Let's go to the high-resolution radar and take a look there. And once again, the stronger circulation is now near Waterville. And that is now moving up right across that Route 24 and seeing a pronounced velocity signature there. And that's now coming into that 12 and will be coming over into 75 as well. All right, so we continue to watch live storm chaser coverage there. That's near Rochelle in Illinois, and we had been watching a live tornado, and he is coming up on this tornado again. So if you are just joining us, we saw moments ago this very large wedge-shaped tornado, a white tornado, front lit. It's being illuminated from the front as regards the storm chaser's position, and he is now approaching from the south once again. He turned more to the east, and now he's turned to the north, and he's coming up to intercept this tornado once again. So it's a tornado in progress progress there, and a large one. We have seen debris in the radar signature, which means that either it has done damage at least to trees or possibly to structures as well. And if you notice there, you can see it illuminated by the lightning. Sometimes the picture gets a little bit grainier, which is something that you might expect when you've got a moving vehicle, a signal being broadcast from a moving vehicle. But you can see just behind the trees there's this wedge shape, cone-shaped tornado. And as he gets into a clearing and closer to that storm, we are once again going to be looking at a live tornado there in Illinois. Dr. Greg, what's the latest on the radar with that storm?
Yeah, and now he's come out into an opening. You can see that just to the left of the edge of that white cloud, you can see there is a tornado, still a big cone or wedge tornado. Just slightly, you can see that white cloud. Its right edge, just to the left of that, is the cone tornado. Underneath that big white wall cloud there. And this storm continues to have a debris ball in the area near the Lindenwood area, and continues to be heading up toward the Kirkland area, just to the south of Monroe Center, with a very strong rotation, with continuing to have a debris signature. In fact, the debris field may be expanding, as if that we've had the possibility that it has caused a bit of damage, and some of that is being dispersed as it's picked up into the air. Oh, okay, I have it in the telestrator. So the tornado, it's a little bit hard to see, but this big white cloud I talk about is here. There's the wall cloud, and then now we got into some trees, but just to the left of the edge of that wall cloud is where the tornado is located, right there. It's hard for me to see in the telestrator, but I can point to it by looking at the screen here, and the tornado is big. It's from there all the way across to there. It's a big wedge tornado, and then it angles its way up. It's even higher up as we get down toward the base of that wall cloud. So I had mentioned earlier, I thought it might be a little bit obscured and a little bit of layer of rain, and that may be the case here, the combination of shadows from the cloud above it. But there is definitely a wall cloud, definitely a tornado underneath that wall cloud.
Dr. Forbes, getting reports of semis tipped over on the interstate and people trapped inside. Their spotters stopping to assist them on the road. Did just cross Interstate 39.
Yeah, that's what Sarah's just talking about, what we had worried about a few moments ago, that this was going to cross I-39, and we were seeing that the traffic had not stopped. We were seeing both northbound and southbound traffic, getting reports of semis that are overturned. Hope everyone is okay there. You can see there he's panned to the left. That would be off to the west, and it's clear skies right there, right up the road. He's heading directly toward it now. You can see the tornado, big wedge tornado that is showing up right there underneath this big wall cloud. So this is a classic, very wide tornado. I would guess, Carl, that this tornado is probably at least a half-mile wide.
Very large storm there. And we're going to talk to the chaser, Matt Salo, who is behind the wheel of this particular chase vehicle. And Matt, are you there?
Yes.
All right, so you're coming up on this thing now. It looks like you are headed north once again, and what, about a half mile away, something like that?
Yeah, half a mile, probably a mile.
Okay, and you're moving right along there, and it's difficult to chase on a day like today, but you've been doing quite a job of it, keeping up with these storms. They're moving right along, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been tracking them since about 1 p.m.
And tell us what you're seeing right now. Obviously, you've got this large tornado just off to your right, so it is you're in a safe position, relatively speaking. It's moving off to your northeast, and so you're coming up basically behind it relative to its movement of direction, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Have you ever seen a tornado of this size?
Not this size, no.
How long have you been chasing?
This is 23 years.
All right. Well, it's quite a storm there. This is Matt Salo, who's chasing Dr. Greg. It's amazing that this thing has maintained as much structure as it has, but this has really been a testament to how much energy is in the atmosphere today.
It really is, and while you were talking, I was making some measurements off the radar, and it looked to me as if the wall cloud was probably about 1.5 miles wide, as indicated by the total width of the debris ball that we see on radar. And probably the tornado, you can't get it perfectly, but I would estimate, based on the radar, as I had estimated visually, that the tornado is probably about 1/2 mile wide here. So this is a wide wedge tornado. It's probably about wider than it is up to the base of that wall cloud, and that when that happens, that's what we call a wedge. It's a large, menacing, potentially deadly tornado that is moving now off to the north and east of the Monroe Center area. It's going to go just to the north of Kirkland, Illinois, and then ultimately it's heading toward the Marengo area of northern Illinois. We're talking a tornado in progress in parts of tornado warning for parts of DeKalb, Boone, and Ogle and Winnebago counties in northern Illinois.
And Dr. Greg, when you have a storm that is this large, oftentimes within that larger wedge-shaped funnel, you're going to have what are called multiple vortices, or smaller tornadoes that rotate about each other and are often responsible for extreme violence because of the rapid change in the winds as they move around each other.
Yeah, Dr. Fujita back in 1971 proposed that those existed, and they can sometimes be hidden inside the outer edges of the funnel, and dust and debris that is being picked up by the tornado, but they revolve about the tornado, sort of like the individual horses in a merry-go-round. And they too, when they're there, they have their own counterclockwise circulation. They have their own low pressure, and so their wind speed adds to the wind speed of the parent tornado and can give you even more damage in the places that they hit. And we're seeing now, I believe, we're seeing some damage that this tornado has done, Carl.
All right, we want to go back out to Matt Salo, who's behind the camera right now. And Matt, tell us where you are right now, what town this is, and what you're seeing. Obviously, it looks like we've been hit pretty hard by this tornado in this town.
Yeah, this town looks like Fairdale. Yeah, there's a lot of damage here. Trees down everywhere. This looks like it was a really, really strong tornado. I'm not sure I can even get through this town at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really bad.
So we're looking at, looks like we're looking at trees that have been sheared off around the middle, and a lot of structural damage, unfortunately, as well. We hate to see this kind of thing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, Matt Salo, stay on the line with us, and Dr. Greg, you know, we are fascinated by weather, but this is the part that we really don't like, and this is the reason why we put so much energy into tracking these things. And unfortunately, we have just been hit here by a tornado in, is it Fair Lawn? Is that right? Is that what I heard?
That I believe so. I'm not seeing
Fairdale. Fairdale, Illinois has just been hit by a tornado, and Dr. Greg, this is sort of the worst part right here.
Yeah, it really is. You can see all the small branches have been stripped off the trees here. A lot of the times that is by flying debris, and you see that big piles of debris ahead of them. I don't think he's likely to be able to go very much farther. He's come into the south edge of the tornado. The tornado winds are weak out on the edge, and then as you get right in toward the edge of where the funnel cloud has gone, or the funnel of the tornado, I should say, has gone, that's usually where the strongest winds are, just slightly to the south of the center of the tornado itself. And he's apparently now gotten very close to that, where I cannot see exactly the nature of the damage, but I believe I see back in behind there some parts of a roof off of a house. I still see some houses that are standing in there, but I also did see that there were some mobile homes in this location. He's panning around. It looks like some structure right there, that may have been a mobile home, looks like it has disappeared. So, and part of the building there, that the roof is gone. Oh, there we have roofs and wall.
All right, Greg, your mic has gone down, so I'll go ahead and pop in here, and we're looking at a structure that looks like it's pretty much gone. Let's go back to Matt Safo, who is the chaser that is watching this debris. Matt, tell us what you're looking at right now. Obviously, it looks very, very bad indeed.
Yeah, it's really bad. There's some houses that are...
I'm sorry, go ahead. All right, sounds like we just lost Matt. This is Matt Salo, and again, we are in the town of Fairdale, and people beginning to come out now. We are looking at what appears to be very serious damage. Their entire structures, perhaps if not leveled, extremely damaged. And yes?
I have some new information. Mike Chesterfield, one of our producers here, he was saying that if we get up into the Marengo and Woodstock areas, there's a lot of people up there. We've got about 10,000 people in Marengo and Woodstock. And those two cities, you're talking about the suburbs of Chicago there. Okay. So we got a lot more population. This could, excuse me, could be moving into.
So let's go back to Dr. Greg. Let's go ahead and take a look at those other storms then while we continue to watch this live feed of the damage coming out of Fairdale. And this is what we had feared, folks, as we were watching this large tornado, and it's not over yet, not by any stretch. And we've got a couple more storms to tell you about. Dr. Greg, do you have that for us?
Yes, indeed. Well, that, in fact, that Woodstock Marengo area is the same storm that we've just been following here as it heads off toward the northeast into these far west suburbs of the Chicago area. And the storm right now is close to the coming up toward Garden Prairie and Marengo, but then farther to the northeast beyond that would be Woodstock, Illinois. And so dangerous storms, a dangerous tornado we know in progress and heading that direction. While you're looking, I'm continuing to monitor the radar here and continue to see very strong evidence of a very large tornado that is in progress in the area just now to the north and west of Kirkland, heading toward Garden Prairie and Marengo, as a brand new tornado warning has been issued for parts of DeKalb, Boone, and McHenry counties. Large and extremely dangerous tornado near Kirkland, 9 miles south of Belvedere, heading northeast at 40 miles per hour. So we've been seeing the tornado probably about a half-mile wide. This is going to be causing extreme amounts of destruction potentially as it heads up into these popular. There it is. You're seeing moments ago that wedge tornado there in the left part of your screen as it was moving into the area where you then have recently seen the damage that has been produced by this tornado. So, Carl, dangerous situation here.
Dr. Greg, we want to get you up to date, folks up to date on tornado warnings now in northeast Texas, seeing a very strong circulation now just off to the north of Longview. So let's go over to Max 6 and show you what's happening there. 3 separate tornado warnings now west of Shreveport and right along I-20 there, and they're moving off to the north and to the east. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. And Sean, let's strap on down and see what's going on with that. That northernmost warning, that's the one with the very strong rotation on it, and we'll move on in and see what's happening with that. So that's a tornado warning that's right along I-20 and west of Shreveport for Gregg and Harrison and Marion counties. That's going until 8:15. Sean, let's flip over to the high resolution radar on 16 and see what's going on here. And you'll notice that you've got a really well-defined circulation. So the circulation is right in here. This is where your little inflow notch is right there. And then you've got the circulation right in there. And as we take a look at the velocity mode, that is a really strong circulation showing up there, and that is now just northeast of Longview. We'll take a look at the normalized rotation. We'll remove some of the noise here, and we are seeing again, really pronounced circulation there that is now just northeast of Longview and moving east, going to be moving near Hallsville as well. And let's also take a look at the debris, and we're not really seeing much debris as of yet. I'll go ahead and move over here. And oh, yes, we are. Take that back. That has just changed in the last scan. So we are now seeing debris. And again, this is a tornado warning north and east of Longview, Texas. Looks like it's generally going to be headed over towards Hallsville and then over towards Nesbitt as well. The movement on this is now east at 30 miles per hour. Exceptionally strong rotation, really showing up here in the normalized rotation. And we are seeing that little blue area. Debris as well. So this is an ongoing tornado there north and east of Longview. Couple more tornado warnings off to the south of that as well. And those are now farther south and west relative to Longview. So let's take a look at that. There's the first one we talked about that's going to be passing just to the north of Route 80. Then another tornado warning here near Henderson. And then here around Troop, there's a tornado warning for Rusk County, and that includes Henderson and New London. And then the warning off to the west there, Sean, another warning here that is for Troop. That's Cherokee and Smith. That includes Troop. And once again, we can take a look at the radar picture and see what's going on the high resolution radar and see what's happening with the rotation. So certainly we are seeing rotation in both of these cases near New London and then also near Troop. So a circulation right here, circulation right here. And but farther to the north, again, just to the north and east of Longview, very, very strong circulation now moving towards Hallsville and Nesbitt. And we are now seeing in that blue, we are seeing debris along with that circulation. All right, we want to get back out now to Matt Salo, and he's been following this storm in Illinois. And Matt, where are you now, and are you still seeing the tornado?
Right now, I am just west of
Kirkland, heading east. I try to get east of it a little bit and then go north.
Do you have a visual on the tornado at this time?
It's off in the distance. It's definitely still there, still turning pretty good. I don't have a good, clean visual of it, though.
So it looks like you can very clearly see the wall cloud there and obviously the lightning. So it's going to be just below that area that sort of lowering there. And it looks like, indeed, there is still a tornado. You getting a look at it now?
Yeah, getting closer.
Okay, so if you are just joining us here, we have been following a live tornado in Illinois, and unfortunately we have seen that it has done some significant damage to at least one small town, Fairdale, in Illinois, and it's been going on for a long time. These are live pictures, and the chaser that is behind the wheel here, Matt Salo, has been following this storm for quite some time, bending to the north, bending to the east, and now a little behind this circulation, trying to catch up with it. But this is an ongoing threat here. Dr. Greg, I want to bring you in. And what is it looking like on the radar picture right now?
It continues to look very bad on radar, Carl. I thought we've had reports of a tornado in the area south and east of Toledo. I thought if we could, we ought to take a quick look at that one because there's been a tornado reported at a mobile home park there, Walnut Hills Mobile Home Park in Walbridge. That is near the Toledo area. Tornado warning for Lucas and Wood counties. Go ahead and move that one forward, Sarah. A big rotating ball of a storm. The mobile home park would be up in the middle of the storm, so I'm not sure if the damage there is from wind or from a tornado, but a potentially multi-centered circulation there. Sarah, if you could give me Gibson Ridge 18. All right. We're going to time this out to be a big, broad thing because there could be wind damage and or tornadoes. That could be coming toward Erie, Ohio, around 8:55 p.m. We'll go to the Gibson Ridge radar here in a moment. We continue to see here the clouds coming in. There it is. There we go. So in this case, just a big, broad storm, but when I take a look at some of the velocity in here, there are more than one circulation centers. It's not nearly as well defined as what we're getting in terms of some of these Illinois storms, but a couple of circulation centers, one headed Millbury Clay Center area. That would be the one closest to the Walbridge area where we've had a tornado reported, another headed toward the Genoa area. If we could, we'll go back then, Sarah, to the storm that we've been following on Chaser. I have that on Gibson Ridge 19 if you want to just go to that one.
Okay.
And that one continues to have a well-defined hook echo. We've had the tornado down to the south. We've been seeing the damage from that. Now the tornado wraps around. It's getting close to Garden Prairie. The rotation of the tornadoes in that little circle that I've just drawn with a strong rotation still showing up, really strong rotation, big northwest flow, southwest flow, and I'm almost afraid to put on this debris signature. Still some debris that is showing up with that. So a dangerous tornado continues to be in progress there, coming up toward the Garden Prairie and Marengo areas of Illinois. We're talking about a tornado warning for DeKalb, Boone, and McHenry counties in the Illinois area. And I'm going to slide a little bit to the north and east. We still have a tornado warning up to the north of that. It's about, I believe, to move from Illinois into Wisconsin. Hebron area of Illinois, you see on the, well, we've gone to the other radar scan here. There is the hook echo on that one, McHenry County in Illinois. It may move up into Wisconsin then with a tornado warning on that one and a well-defined hook echo. That is the storm that has had tornadoes at times all the way from the Rockford, Illinois area off toward the north and east. So dangerous storms in northern parts of Illinois about ready to head their way into Wisconsin. And the southern of those two is the one that you're continuing to see on the left with a big wedge tornado that has caused damage in a community. It has overturned semis along I-39, and our chaser is back on the move, continuing to follow this dangerous storm. Carl, pretty impressive. I'm glad the chaser is staying safe. I feel really bad that there have been communities in the path, and we know there has been some damage. We hope that the there are no casualties from this tornado.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see what we saw moments ago with this chaser here. So we are following a severe weather outbreak across many parts of the country, all the way from Michigan back through the plains and the Midwest, and then right down into Texas as well. And I want to tell you about a pronounced circulation, a likely tornado here that is not very far away from Shreveport. So there are 3 separate tornado warnings on either side of Interstate 20. This is west of Shreveport, and this cell has got a very strong circulation on it, and we have seen debris on the radar as well. So let's take a look a little bit closer in at what's going on with this storm. This is a tornado warning now for Harrison County, Upshur, Marion, Gregg counties in northeast Texas. The movement is east at 30 miles per hour, and look at the circulation. That is a really well-defined rotational circulation. So what you've got here is that you've got moving towards the radar and away from the radar, right in here, just like that. That's the motion. That's that strong circulation. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the high-resolution radar, Sean. And we've actually got a little bit of a donut showing up right in there. That's where the circulation is there. We'll take a look at the velocity signature, and again, just a pronounced velocity signature. Normalized rotation, very, very strong. And then we'll look at the correlation coefficient, and right in there, it's not quite as well defined right now, but there is certainly evidence of debris. So we're looking for something that sort of stands out. And you notice as we go back in time, indeed, we did see debris signatures showing up, and got a little bit stronger for a time there, and then began to weaken just a little bit right in there. That is our ongoing tornado warning. And so there's a look once again at the storm that's going to be headed to the north of Marshall and right into Nesbitt. Dr. Gregg?
And Carl, as you've pointed out, that by virtue of having that donut shape to it, it is wrapped in rain, and so don't count on seeing this coming. Follow Carl's advice there and seek shelter if you're in the path of this tornado, because as he showed, there's a tornado in progress with a debris signature. We have another tornado warning off to the north and east of St. Louis in Illinois, beyond, farther south and west of the ones that we've shown you in northern Illinois. This one also is one that you wouldn't recognize probably just by looking at it, that there was a tornado there. But around the Mount Olive area, and I'll pop up the velocity here, we've had at least a funnel cloud with that. It doesn't have the intense rotation as the one that Carl just showed, but it has pretty strong rotation nonetheless. The northeast and the southwest winds there just to the east of Mount Olive, a possible tornado. There have been a couple of tornado and/or funnel cloud reports with this storm. So that one will be a tornado that's around the Walshville, Mount Olive, Taylor Springs, Hillsboro area as it comes up across Illinois. And we're talking about a tornado warning here that is for parts of Macoupin and Montgomery counties in Illinois. So dangerous storms in Illinois at this time. Brand new tornado warning in Louisiana, St. Helena Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, Amite County, Mississippi, and in Illinois, Marshall and Peoria and Woodford counties in Illinois. So an active evening. The no cap. Yesterday we had a warm layer aloft, Carl, that was inhibiting some of the storms. No such cap this evening. The storms are pretty much free to go. Some of them along a cold front, some of them just out in the warm air ahead of the cold front, and some of them very destructive tornadoes, Carl.
And Dr. Gregg, there we're taking a look at the brand new tornado warning that is now in effect for St. Helena and Tangipahoa parishes in Louisiana, coming up into southern Mississippi. That's Amite, Pike, Walthall counties in southern Mississippi. Also now I want to go back to the storms in northeast parts of Texas, because we've got an ongoing tornado there. Very dangerous situation there, not very far away from Shreveport. Sean, let's go ahead and zoom in on that and take a look at this exceptionally strong rotation and the debris that we have seen. So that came right across the Longview area and is going to be passing to the north of Marshall. That's Gregg, Harrison, Marion counties under tornado warning. We'll go ahead and time that out for you and take a look at where this is. This is now north of 80 and Hallsville. So the strongest circulation is sitting right in there. There you see that very strong rotational signature there. Let's look at the high resolution radar on 16, Sean, and take a look at that very strong circulation. Still no let up here. I mean, it's been several scans. We've seen this now for for a good 15-20 minutes. Strong rotation, even indication of a tornado vortex signature there. Normalized rotation still very strong, and we are still seeing debris. So this is north of Hallsville and coming towards the Nesbitt and Marshall areas, an ongoing tornado there in northeast Texas. And as we widen out the picture, you see where this is relative to I-20 here and Shreveport, and there are more tornado warnings off to the south. This one in effect right here for Rusk County. We'll look at the velocity data on that, and not as strong as the one to the north, so you can really see the difference between the two. You've got some rotation right in here, but as compared to what's going on with that cell off to the north, that is a very strong signature. So again, take cover right now in Nesbitt and also in Marshall. Dr. Greg?
And we have down just to the south of Springfield, Illinois, a relatively new tornado warning there. That would be the one that would be for Marshall, Peoria, and Woodford counties. So we're going to show you that one. First, we'll show you the big picture here. The two tornado warnings up in northern Illinois, one about to go into Wisconsin, one here near the Peoria area, one down near Springfield, and one that we showed you off to the north and east of the St. Louis area. So we'll take a look here south of the Springfield area. We're talking about Christian and Sangamon counties, the Auburn, Ball, and Chatham areas with a possible tornado. I've surveyed damage when I was in graduate school down in this area, so this is certainly an area that has had tornadoes in the past, as have all of these areas. This circulation on these are not quite as strong as the ones that we've been seeing in some of the other storms, but definitely some rotation back in this vicinity of Pawnee, heading up toward the northeast, Breckenridge, New City, the Mount Auburn area with a possible tornado. While on your left there, lit by lightning now, you continue to see off to the right of the road and ahead of the chaser, you continue to see a large wedge tornado that appears to be in progress in northern parts of Illinois. So, Carl, dangerous storms tonight.
No doubt about that. And Dr. Greg, as you mentioned, tornado warning there in the Toledo metro. Those storms generally headed out towards the lake. You're still looking at the live feed on the left there. If you were just joining us, we saw a live tornado and unfortunately a very strong tornado, a large tornado on the ground there in Illinois, and it continues to be on the ground there in northern Illinois. We're following the chaser's progress. There's the tornado warning in Ohio for Ottawa and Sandusky counties right now. That includes Allen and Port Clinton and Woodville. A confirmed tornado, a spotted tornado along with that storm as it moves there through northwestern Ohio and generally towards a lake area as well. And let's go ahead and take a, I'm sorry, we want to do one. All right, we want to take a look at some of the damage from Fairdale in Illinois. We talked about this live tornado that we saw in the air, and this is as the chaser, after following the tornado, then went up into the town of Fairdale, Illinois, and you see the results there, and absolutely heartbreaking scenes as we are seeing considerable structural damage, obviously very serious damage to trees, and a lot of debris scattered about. It looked like there were some entire structures, maybe mobile homes, that had been obliterated by this very large, very dangerous storm there. This is what it looked like in near Rochelle, Illinois. At this point, the chaser was stopped. He was driving north, and the storm passed on that road, across that road to his north, and then he began to turn east to continue to chase it. But you get a sense of just how large and how scary the storm was as it was coming across northern Illinois. And Matt Salo is still on the phone. He's still chasing the storm. Matt, what can you tell us right now?
I'm kind of on the south side of it, getting hit with some wind and stuff. I think I'm getting into the RFD a little bit here. I'm losing daylight, so I can't really have any visibility on the tornado right now.
Now, I imagine your inclination once the sun goes down is that the chase is probably over at that point. Is that your inclination?
Yes, I really can't see anything at this point.
Yeah, that's good to hear that. Matt Salo has been following the storm all night and brought us those pictures of the damage and of the remarkable tornado there, unfortunately devastating in some areas in northern parts of Illinois. Now, there is an ongoing threat that we want to tell you about. There is still now a warning and a tornado that is headed towards Nesbitt in Texas. This is a tornado warning that is now just north and west of Marshall. So there you get a sense sense of where it is. It's basically west of Shreveport. There are a couple of tornado warnings, but the one to the north has had a really pronounced rotational signature on it, and the rotation is sitting right in here. That is going to be moving probably just to the north side of Marshall, getting very close to Marshall, and it's now very close to Nesbitt, and we are still seeing a very strong rotation along with the storm. There you see the red and green couplet, so that's where wind is coming towards the radar, wind and rain moving away from the radar. And we'll take a look at the roads here. So this is right to the north, just to the north, I should say, of Interstate 80. It's going to be crossing Route 154 and probably hitting the north side of Marshall and again Nesbitt, which is along 154. This tornado warning going until 8:15. So if you are in Nesbitt or in Marshall, it's time to take cover immediately in these areas as we've got a very strong circulation showing up. Let's go to the high resolution radar and take a look at what the latest there is. And we'll go ahead and track that out first. And it's probably going to, Sean, let's move that just a little to the north of east. And it's probably going to be getting over there into the north side of Marshall. That's going to be somewhere around 18 minutes after the hour. We'll go ahead and time this out once again. And there we go. So that'll be getting into Nesbitt in the next few minutes here, probably about 10 minutes or so, and then over into Woodlawn and again the north side of Marshall. And Sean, let's go ahead and take a look at the high resolution radar once again. And now just west of Nesbitt, very, very strong circulation. See that area of red and green where it's coming together there? A normalized rotation, very strong as well. Not seeing now, we are not seeing a debris signature as we saw earlier. You notice as I step back in the frames, you see that little green and blue. So there was clearly debris at one point. We definitely had a tornado at least at one point and may very well still have a tornado with this pronounced rotation coming towards Nesbitt and towards Marshall. So again, in those areas, please take cover immediately. Dr. Greg, what do you have for us?
We have a couple more tornado warnings that we want to talk about in the Illinois area. One that has had that big wedge tornado, one that is down in the area just to the north of Peoria that we haven't shown you lately, and so we'll go into that one first. This one has had a rotation seen in the storm. Tornado warning for parts of Marshall, Peoria, and Woodford counties. That's near Chillicothe, Illinois, and moving off toward the north and east at about 50 miles per hour or so. Toward the Bennington, Illinois area. It's past Chillicothe right now. And that you can see the well-defined hook echo again with this one, the inflow notch. So the tornado will be here running off toward the Bennington area. Let's go to the high definition radar if we can. There's the track of that one toward the Varna and Evans area. No confirmed tornado on this one yet, but certainly is having the capability of doing that. This will be Gibson Ridge 18, and so here is the body of the storm, the hook wrapping around. I'll take a quick look, show the velocities on this one. It is not as strong as some that we're seeing, just has renewed itself, so broad rotation in this one. But if we go back up to the storm closer to the Chicago area, they are sounding sirens. There continues to be at least a funnel seen from the storm that we have been tracking with that big wedge tornado. We're talking about Boone, DeKalb, and McHenry counties in the path of this particular storm, with the tornado now in this spring area coming up toward the Marengo area. And so a dangerous storm there. Sarah, let's just jump over to the high definition radar as this one is getting very, very complex to be tracking. I'll show the velocity signatures on that and move it from there. There's a couple of circulations following each other now. When I show you the velocity signature, the strongest one is showing up right in here. So that will be heading toward the Heartland area. It is just missing Marengo to the north, but it has on its heels a second circulation center here that's near Garden Prairie, and that one probably is going to clip some of the locations that would be calling themselves the north side of Marengo. So dangerous storms there. What do we see in the debris signature in this one? Not as sharp as it had been at times when we had a much clearer single hook echo. So this storm is now really two storms that have merged and moving across the area from near Garden Prairie to Marengo, heading toward Woodstock and the Heartland areas of northern Illinois. So dangerous tornadoes continue. You continue to see the chaser, I believe, following this storm up into the area. At times, you may be able to see the tornado illuminated by lightning, but it is obviously getting dark and getting dangerous to be chasing a storm that is evolving very rapidly structure-wise with mergers of storms and getting night. That's kind of a dangerous combination. We'll hope he stays safe. Carl?
All right, Dr. Greg, so we want to take a look back here, kind of sort of step back and look at the big picture and show you what's going on with the storms across the country. So this is a huge area that is being affected by this severe weather outbreak. You see all of the individual warnings there as they line up from Louisiana up into Arkansas. Maybe, Sean, we can just kind of drop down and take a look at these in a regional sense. Now a tornado warning there in northeastern parts of Louisiana as well as southern Mississippi. Ongoing tornado warning west of Shreveport, and that is for the Marshall and Nesbitts area. Very strong circulation along with that. There's also another tornado warning to the south of that, and we'll drop on in and show you what's happening there in Shreveport. So again, still seeing a very strong circulation. This is going to pass just to the north, or maybe along the north end of Marshall. That's a tornado warning for Harrison and for Marion counties there in northeastern Texas, and there is the circulation not quite as strong as it was earlier, but it's still very strong, and again generally headed towards the north side of the Marshall area. It's moving east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour, and will continue towards that Route 59 there and generally get to the north side of Marshall in fairly short order. There's a look at tracking it out and coming into Nesbitt in just a few minutes, and then getting over to Lee at about 8:40. All right, Sean, let's back out once again and maybe take a look at some other areas. There's also a tornado warning now in northern Mississippi, which we can show you, and that has been right along the Mississippi and Louisiana state line. Kind of a lone wolf out there, not a lot of activity otherwise in terms of severe warnings anyway, and that is right along 55. You see the curvature in that cell, and that tornado warning in effect there for St. Helena, Tangipahoa parishes, and Amite and Pike and Walthall counties, and that's going until 8 o'clock. So the circulation is going to be right here, right where you've got that little bend in the storm, and that is now coming towards the I-55 corridor. So take cover there immediately around Kentwood and areas right along 55. Now we'll take a view farther to the north and broaden out once again, show you the string of storms that's now coming up through parts of Illinois right now. We've got a lot of very heavy rain coming over the same areas in southern parts of Arkansas, so an ongoing threat there for flash flooding. Here you see the tornado warnings that continue across a lot of Illinois. Dr. Greg's going to get into the detail of those in just a moment. Tornado warning now just north and west of Chicago, a couple of them near Springfield. Let's go ahead and drop on down, Sean, and show you what's going on with those. We'll cover each of those from north to south. And so first of all, north and east of St. Louis, tornado warning right now, and that includes the Walshville area, and that is for Macoupin and Montgomery counties. That's going until the top of the hour. So right in here where that little notch is, that's near East Fork. That's where we're concerned about a possible tornado, seeing at least a broader circulation right now along with that. Then well off to the north, we've got more tornado warnings to tell you about. And again, Dr. Greg's going to get into more detail with these in just a moment. Circulation here is now approaching Taylorville. That is Christian and Macon counties under tornado warning. Then let's continue off towards the north, Sean, and get up into the northern part of the state. There you see some ongoing storms, a tornado warning here in Marshall County, and then let's continue a little farther to the north as well. That's now west of 39, and let's look at the one that is now north and west of Chicago. That is McHenry County under a tornado warning there, and I believe, yes, we still have a tornado warning not very far away from Toledo, where there was actually a spotted tornado, so some severe weather off to the east as well. The eastern extent of this is going to be limited. It's really not going to get past Pennsylvania because the air does get much drier in short order there today, but that is going to change tomorrow. So there you go, Ottawa County under tornado warning, that going until 9:15. So Dr. Greg, I imagine you want to get into the particulars on those Illinois storms?
Yeah, I just had an oh man moment over here, Carl, taking a look at the Doppler radar. The storm has definitely reorganized. The one that we were following that had the big wedge tornado continues to move up in the area now in northern Illinois near the Heartland area, heading up toward the area north and west of Woodstock, Illinois. So we're going to take a look at some of these storms. It is this one that is up north and west of Chicago here that has given me one of these "ah man" moments, but there are additional storms. We'll probably take a look at some of those. So Sarah, I think, will drive us up here into the Illinois storm, and we'll come in and look at that one. Ultimately, I have that on Gibson Ridge 19, Sarah. McHenry County, you have a tornado warning. This storm is really rotating. It has gotten itself back together again down near this Hook Echo area, is reorganized and is going to be heading up toward McHenry with a tornado. We've had a history of tornadoes with this particular storm and dangerous destruction with some of this particular storm. So taking a look here, tracking that one out. Bonus, the Heartland area, Greenwood, Richmond, you're seeing the dangerous circulation coming up in that direction. We go to the high definition radar, we'll see that I'll show you a little bit more about what gave me that oh man moment. That will be Gibson Ridge 19. Just looking at it, it has gotten a little bit of a merger that's come in on the south side. Sometimes that fuels the storm. The other big picture that you can see is the spiraling around here. But the oh man moment came when I took a look at asked the radar to quantify the rotation. And it is way up there. Blues, greens, yellows, reds. Carl, I believe in the Texas storm was showing some reds. We have not one but two red circulation centers here, so very strong rotation has reorganized in this particular storm. I'll go back to the way we normally see the radar. And if we did not have the Doppler, you probably would not get such a strong portrayal of this. But one or two tornado circulations are heading off toward the Heartland area. That will head up toward Spring Grove, and another maybe heading up toward the Hebron area. So if I
tornado again just 1 mile west of Marengo, so there's still a tornado on the ground at the moment with that storm.
Yeah, still a tornado with this storm, but now if I show you the velocity, without quantifying it or intensifying it, you do see that broad circulation with a really tight circulation here, another tight circulation there. So it may be what we call, it may be cycling. Perhaps one tornado that has made a left turn, the next tornado reforming farther to the south and heading off to the north and east. We'll see if that hypothesis holds true. What the question is, debris signatures, not a tremendous amount at the moment. Mostly we're seeing this as rain, so it may have weakened. Or let's see, we're seeing this up at around 4,000 feet. Maybe some of the debris is settled out, but it may begin to produce some additional debris. Certainly a very dangerous storm that has, by the lavender color here of the tornado warning, is one that has been producing a tornado. Ashton, when it was quite a while back, reported damage and injuries at a food warehouse. That was about 6:40 p.m. And so a history of damage being reported with this particular storm. Now, I guess if we slide to the south, Sarah, we can get a few of the other storms down farther to the south in Illinois.
Southern one that's, let's see.
Closest to St. Louis, yep, off to the north and east of St. Louis, Macoupin and Montgomery counties in Illinois. This is off to the west of Vandalia, Illinois. This one, you can see a little bit more of that hook structure that we often show that is showing up. And I can pull this one, I believe, once we are ready to do that.
I'm going to time this one out in the meantime.
Time that out, and I'll pull it up into Gibson Ridge 18 when we're ready to go there. The tornado circulation right now around the East Fork area, getting some unobstructed, unrained into air now coming into its east flank. So that will be coming up probably toward or just to the north of Ramsey at about 8:14 toward the Fillmore area as well in Illinois here. And if we go to the
18.
Gibson Ridge 18, we can take a look there. It's not a tremendously intense or tight circulation at this point. You have a lot of west winds. Over around the Coffeen area, you see some eastbound winds. So a broad circulation may tighten up in that Fillmore Ramsey area as we continue to monitor this particular storm. There are additional tornado warnings that are across the Illinois area. We're going to slide farther to the north there, up toward the Springfield area. And there, near just to the west and southwest of Moweaqua, near the Taylorville area, you see a ragged appendage coming out of the southwest side of this storm. And I will take a quick, while you're doing that, Sarah, I'll pull up another radar that we can take a high definition look at that one. There you have, Sarah's done some street level mapping. as this storm is coming across the Taylorville area toward Moweaqua in central parts of Illinois. And Sarah's moving this one forward. Moweaqua about 8:13, Dalton City about the 8:29 time frame. And I have this one also on Gibson Ridge 18, Sarah. There has been a tornado reported with this one, a funnel cloud around the DeVernon area about 7:19 Central Time. There is the radar. I'll zoom into this one, ask the radar what kind of velocities are we seeing. And again, on this one, a broader rotation, not the kind of circulation that we're seeing up in the suburbs. Brand new scan has just come in, and so some indication of rotation with this storm, but it's not the kind of rotation we've been seeing in the tornado that is up in northern Illinois. Do we have another stop that we're going to here, Sarah?
I believe this is it. We can go back to the northern.
Yeah, let's have another look at the farthest northern storm that has had the history of producing destructive large wedge tornado. That one is in McHenry County off to the north and west of Crystal Lake. This one is bypassed Chicago. Des Plaines is up near the Chicago O'Hare Airport. So we're getting up near the Wisconsin line here with the strong circulation in that. This one will be in Gibson Ridge 19, Sarah, when we're ready to go to that one. And tornado heading up toward from right around Heartland right now, coming up toward what will probably be Genoa City, moving into the Wisconsin area, and Antioch, Illinois, just to the west of Antioch, Illinois, right near the Wisconsin-Illinois border there. Antioch about 8:33 p.m. If we go to the Gibson Ridge, we'll have another look at this one in high definition and see that it continues to look a little bit ragged in its overall appearance, but in that area just to the north of Heartland has extremely strong rotation again with still a couple of possible centers in this tornado. So what doesn't look so impressive in its precipitation pattern, still in its velocity structure, is looking like a very, very dangerous tornadic storm.
All right, Dr. Greg, and we want to take another look at what happened earlier today. We're in the middle of an ongoing severe weather outbreak across a lot of the country, and we had a live tornado on the air here at the Weather Channel. This was the scene about an hour ago as a large wedge tornado was near Rochelle in Illinois, and you see how it's got a very wide shape there, a damaging and destructive tornado that was passing across the road that this chaser was on. He was driving from the south off to the north there, and the storm passed to his north. Been following it for some time, and then he came up on the town of Fairdale, Illinois, that was hit directly by that tornado. There you see some of the significant damage there. A lot of structural damage, a lot of debris strewn about. This is absolutely the worst thing that we could see after watching these tornadoes and knowing that they could in fact cause this kind of damage. This is a large tornado and a really devastating storm for at least some parts of northern Illinois. This was earlier, just moments ago, about an hour ago, watching this storm, and we've got an ongoing tornado threat. Now, I also want to show you what's been going on down in Texas, where things are looking perhaps a little bit better right now. There is still a tornado warning in effect in northeastern Texas, but the rotation is not quite as well defined as it once was. So tornado warning here to the north and to the west of Shreveport. That's now just north of I-20. And Sean, let's zoom on down and take a look at the particulars here. So that is coming into the north side of Marshall. That's Harrison and Marion counties going until 8:15. And the circulation again still showing up on the radar, but it's not as well defined. Let's go to the high resolution radar and show you what's happening with that right now. So here we are seeing some evidence of the circulation in this sort of a green and red, but watch as I step back in time. You'll notice that it's just a pinpoint at a certain point right in there, and right at that time that was north of Hallsville. We also saw some debris showing up, especially in the previous scans right there. So again, an ongoing severe weather threat across a lot of the country. We've got much more coming up in 60 seconds. We'll continue to time these storms out and show you the very latest right here on the Weather Channel.